Okay, hey guys, welcome to live. Actually, I'll put us like that. That way we're bigger. And Ivy's joining us tonight.
Hello.
Um, so, anyways, before we get started, Charmaine, she's not feeling well tonight. She's been working 12-hour days. She's exhausted. Aspen Connor, Aspen Connor, MIA. So we're hoping that he does. So basically, we had been messaging all day, and I know that these guys keep going to the courthouse, and he was there last night at like 1:30 a.m. So I asked him what time would be a great time tonight to do the live. He said like later the better, 11 o'clock, which is his time Eastern. My time is of course 8:30, or sorry, 8 o'clock. Um, and so he said he needed to get some more sleep because he was still really tired and whatever. So let me just put it this way. I'm tired of being embarrassed by this now, to be honest with you. I mean, I love the guy, but holy shit on this one. So, anyways, hopefully he wakes up during this live. And because I was so, and I'm sure you guys too, even though probably everyone's watched other channels do lives from today as well. But, anyways, and Alexa should be joining us shortly as well for a little bit. CD can't at the moment because, got a little boy and he's with his son. But, anyways, so we're just going to go through this, right, Ivy? So I want to say, first of all, Ivy, you're muted
Yeah.
actually. Yeah, there you go. Ivy, yeah, I know that you were away, you said, and that. So how are you feeling so far with the Delphi case and everything going on? And even
I
after today?
have mixed feelings. It's hard. I've been trying to put myself in the position of a juror and trying to think about only what's been presented and not the other stuff I know. And I'm hoping that the prosecution does better with the other evidence because I don't think I could convict right now. Which I
Right.
mean, I don't think anybody could be expected to convict halfway through the case being presented.
Well, yeah. I mean,
And I have
hi.
questions about the video. What is going on with the video?
Cool. Okay, so what's your question? What are you thinking about the video?
They said, I mean, it's really not that surprising that it turns out that Bridge Guy is just really teeny tiny in the background and they had to zoom in. I mean, that's why it's so bad. But the
Right.
audio is the part that really surprised me. It
Okay,
sounds like you can't hear it very well at all.
well, that's just it. Is that, and you guys, thank you for joining us today. For anyone coming in and that, thank you guys so much, and to any newcomers as well, thank you. And please hit that like button if you could and share. That would be wonderful. Appreciate that. So yeah, so like for the audio, because so what happened was hidden true crime lots of times goes to her phone on the lunch and was reporting about the video. Now, so what was confusing was that she was saying that yes, that on the video, like he's way back behind Abby, and obviously when they brought it to us, they had to zoom in the video. But she said it didn't say anything about down the hill, guys down the hill, or anything about the gun. And now, then when Adam was answering earlier, he said that no, it was there. It was on there. And so I was left kind of confused. I think a lot of us were kind of confused about the video. Did you hear
I think
like
part of it is the bad audio in the courtroom. So
mm,
I heard from, I think it was Tom, the first time he said he didn't really hear the guy's part. And then the second time, which was after lunch, he said he heard a guy's, but it was not like we would picture it based on what we've heard. It was like Bridge Guy was still quite a bit far away, but I don't know if he ever heard the down the hill part. And then something that stuck out to me that I hope won't be a problem when it comes to connecting the guy on the bridge to the abduction is he said that he heard a click, but it wasn't like a gun, it was like her moving the phone. And that reminded me of, so I've heard from Anna and from Becky about what they saw in the video. And one thing Anna said, she said, "And there's a gun you can hear at the end," like, but she said, "I couldn't hear it, but they told me that's what that sound was." So
What
now
was that last part you just said? What did
Anna
I miss?
said, "They told me." What did she say? She said, "At the end of the video, you can hear a gun, like him pull the hammer back of a gun," but she said, "I couldn't hear that, but that's what they told me it was."
Mm.
And with Tom saying that the click wasn't a gun sound, it sounded like a phone moving, that reminded me of that.
Yeah, like what? Like all that's going through my head is like, what the fuck is going on? Like seriously, with everything. And and then I heard that about Betsy Blair, that really key witness of Bloody and Muddy, is saying that the person was boyish.
Oh,
And
Betsy, that's a different than Bloody and Muddy. That's the one that saw him on the bridge, but
oh, Sarah Carbaugh
Sarah
is the one.
Carball hasn't gone on yet.
That's the one. That's the one. You're right.
But
Betsy Blair is the one that saw him 50 feet away.
he did say he was boyish and, what did he say? Beautiful or something like that, which I thought was interesting. But the way they do the sketches is,
Hmm.
from my understanding at least, is they'll show them different hairstyles or different types of noses, and they'll kind of like construct a face from that.
Right.
So I wonder if like that's where the curly hair comes from. It's not that she said he had curly hair, it's that like out of the pictures that she was shown, she picked the one that like maybe could be described as curly, but that's not necessarily what she said. But either
Right.
way, she's still the like commonality between the witnesses and Betsy Blair is that, or when I say other witnesses, I mean the two other girls. They all say that the guy in the bridge photo was the guy they saw.
Right. Right.
So I don't know.
I know. Okay. Ben says, I listened to MS. They heard Libby say there's no path. Right. That's what I heard. Now, then again, I heard Barbara McDonald on Nancy Grace saying, you know, talking about the thing, like meaning because she's heard it multiple times. And she was saying that Libby was doing this with the phone, and that's why you couldn't kind of get a better picture of the BG or whatever. And that, that she's heard the, guys down the hill. And she said, as for the gun part, Barbara McDonald said, she said, honestly, I honestly don't know what they said or what was said about the gun. She said, it's one of those things that you have to struggle to even hear. And then we heard, right. And then about there's no path. I think that's what some people were saying, that, or like some of the people that were there, that there's no path. That Abby had said. I thought about going on Thursday. Well, if you do, maybe you can be my wing lady.
I
No,
just worry about the jury being able to connect the guy on the bridge
yes,
to abducting the girls if there's not. I think logically it makes sense that that's the guy, but if it's beyond a shadow of a doubt and you're putting somebody in prison, I don't know if there's enough evidence for that part. Now, like
right,
once we get to the confessions, hopefully that's a slam
yeah.
dunk.
And I was sent to confess one of the confessions today. Now I was told that it was a sketch. This is coming from a very high source. I'm not even gonna. Oh, uh, Ivy dropped. I'll here by myself. Poor Ivy. Or maybe I should be saying poor Sunny tonight, to be honest with you. Right, Aspen? Wherever you are. There she is.
I'm glad I pushed the
Right.
button.
I was gonna say, I was wondering if you accidentally hit the button. So I was just talking about. So I was sent a one of the confessions. I was told that it was I think a sketch of it, and but it's from like we'll just say it's from the media. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll be looking at that as well. At that. So take it as you want. But I wouldn't, if I don't trust a source and stuff like that, or in a sense, and I hate to use the word source because, the people that I do have that ever send me stuff are very near and dear to me. People that, wouldn't put that stuff out there if it even was remotely thought of to be, fake or something like that. So all I could say is that I'll be showing that, but it's from high credentials out there. So we'll see. We'll take a look at that, you guys, and see what you think. Hi, guys. I think it's good that all three witnesses are saying fridge guy. Fridge guy. Nice. That's a nice typo. That one made me giggle. Fridge guy. 10-4. 10-4. 10-4 backdoor. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to read a couple things, and then we're just going to play. I'm just going to play this news clip. I have a few here, but actually, you know what? Let's see here. Ben, I guess the courtroom isn't that big. A lot of them said they didn't hear it. I take MS with a grain of salt. Just remember their info on the red Jeep. Who knows? Maybe that will swirl back into play one day. CD, yes, but all those people who know the witnesses' accounts are usually unreliable. We don't know. We need to recall details of people we randomly pass daily. Absolutely, I agree with that. I think what the weird thing to say though, that there's no path. Considering, okay, let's just go into that one for a second, Ivy, because we know that they've been to the bridge like already. Like Libby's already crossed that bridge before. It wasn't her first time on the rodeo.
Yeah, and
So,
from my understanding, there's still almost like tracks from the train tracks. The train tracks aren't still there, but there's still like tracks in the ground, kind of.
right.
So, and then I can't remember who it was, if it was Tom or if it was somebody else that I heard describe the girls sounding like not scared. I always pictured them as being like fairly freaked out at that point.
So,
they acted like they weren't yet.
yeah, okay, so you heard that, right?
Yes.
Okay, because on Down the Hill, if you guys remember Down the Hill, the two officers spoke on the Down the Hill podcast about that entire part, and you could tell listening to them that they were broken up about how terrified these girls were, how terrified these girls sounded. So that confuses me too, because here you are all those years at near the beginning, in the Down the Hill episodes there, like they
Maybe it's just
literally
because they know what happened afterwards.
maybe, right? And because they know I don't know, but it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, oh my God, this case, I swear. The news guy put that switch on his Twitter of the confession. Which one? Ah, oh, okay. The news guy. I'm not sure. I think I know which one. The Seagal guy or whatever. Um, actually, well, we'll put that up in a minute. Let's see here. Okay. I think so. Hey, everyone, and again, thanks for joining us tonight.
Weren't we told that Abby said something about a gun too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That it was Abby, actually.
Has anybody heard that? Who was it in the courtroom?
Well, let's ask Aspen. Aspen, did you hear that? Oh, you're gonna get back to me? Okay. Okay. Well, just let me know. Okay. Let me play this video quickly. I want to hear what's it. We're just gonna hear what's in this video today. Okay,
All
you
right.
guys.
Jurors in the Delphi murders trial have seen video taken from Libby German's cell phone.
The prosecution claims this video links Richard Allen to the deaths of Abby and Libby. CBS Wars' Russ McQuaid and Max Lewis join us outside the Carroll County Courthouse. Max, in fact, you just got out of the courtroom just a few moments ago.
Max just left the courtroom. I was in there for most of the day. Max, I think probably one of the most significant events we've seen in just the opening days of this trial, which was certainly emotional today,
Right.
is when a state police audiovisual technician was on the witness stand, and the prosecution played that famous piece of video that we've all seen of Bridge Guy, shot from Libby's phone on February 13th, 2017. We've only seen a snippet of it before, but this afternoon, Max, jurors saw 43 seconds of that video.
Yeah, that's right. And that video was taken from the time that Abby Williams finishes crossing the bridge, and then it's sort of a fumbled video a little bit. But at some points, you do, I was able to look at some of the still shots afterwards. You do see Bridge Guy, as they call him, in the background. The more, I think almost one of the more important things was what we actually heard on that video. And I'm going to read you from what we could hear as they played it out in the courtroom. You hear one of the girls, we believe it's Libby, say, "There's no path going there, so we have to go down here." And then after that, we hear a little bit of audio that appears to sound like the audio that has been released by state police that says "guys down the hill." However, when I listen to it with my, with just my ears and everybody in the courtroom, you can't clearly hear "guys down the hill." And that was part of the testimony of one of those, one of the forensic workers for Indiana State Police, that they did enhance that audio. So they did make changes to that audio in order to hear it better.
And of course, what was so chilling about that is it sounded like Libby is responding to some sort of a directive. And so she's saying to Abby or to the abductor, "There's no path here. We've got to go down here." Of course, it was down that hill to a wooded area on the south side of Deer Creek where they were first abducted to, and then their bodies show up the next day on the other side, on the north side. And I think what's most chilling about that is we actually hear for the first time the voices of the girls in the moments they are being abducted.
Yeah, and I mean, the moments that, according to the prosecution's timeline, the moments before they were taken down and murdered at the bottom of the bridge.
Now, Max, you couldn't see it from where you were sitting, but Kathy Allen, Richard Allen's wife, was sitting in front of me, and I could see him turn around with a very plaintive look on his face at that exact moment when that was being played. Now, admittedly, I saw him do that several times on Saturday, so it is something he does when he looks back into the gallery. But it was at that specific moment that he chose to look back at his wife when we heard that in the courtroom. And then later, Max, as I made my way out here, you were still in the courtroom, and it sounded to me like some of the prosecution's key eyewitnesses on the bridge that day, their stories started falling apart.
Yeah, so I believe you have reported on the fact that we had one of the witnesses come up before you had to leave court, a woman who was a teenager then, a woman now, who was on the bridge that day. She had went out with 3 of her friends to take photos. So we heard from 2 of those friends this afternoon in court. And you did see during cross-examination, especially, many of these people have been interviewed multiple times over the years, and the defense attorney pointed out quite a few differences in their statement. A lot of them describe the bridge guy, as we know him, as a youngish person. They describe him wearing all black clothing, black pants, black jacket, everything like that. Obviously, from the picture that we have, that is not really the correct description. The other big person that we heard from was Betsy Blair this afternoon, who is one of the people who was interviewed and is the basis for one of those sketches that we have from Indiana State Police. And she testified about what she saw. Her recollections slightly differ. Obviously, we know those 2 sketches look completely different. I want to say the most head-turning thing that I think is going to come up over the next few days is that Mr. Baldwin, once the jury had left, defense attorney Andrew Baldwin said, "Judge, we need to discuss what this means." That they believe that Betsy Blair opened the door for the sketches to come back in, which were originally left out.
Well, like last week, yes, it would have been last week, just before the first day of the trial, the judge said, no, those sketches can't come in because the prosecution said, oh, that was never meant to represent Richard Allen. That was only meant to represent a working investigative tool. And the defense said, we want those sketches in because they don't look anything at all like our guy. The judge agreed with the prosecution. They weren't supposed to come up. But if the prosecution's witness happens to bring them up, the defense has a window to go, okay, now they're fair game, Your Honor. So somebody's going to have to make a decision. Not the greatest day for the prosecution today in this case. We will be back at it tomorrow morning, first thing, and Max will be up at 6 o'clock with the very latest we've learned from the courtroom. For Max Lewis, I'm Russ McQuaid, CBS 4 News.
All right, CBS 4's Russ McQuaid and Max Lewis live in Delphi for us tonight. Thank you both for your coverage. We're certainly going to be hearing a lot more from them over the next several days. Also in the Delphi murders trial today, we're getting a look at documents and interviews that have been used in the Delphi murders investigations. These exhibits were shown to media in Fort Wayne in the courtroom there today, and that includes Richard Allen's signed confession. We do expect to hear his confessions at some point this trial. The defense continuing to.
Okay, so that's where that's coming from on there. That's Frank. Gibbo, true crime talk with Gibbo Meister instead of Frank Meister. Yeah? Okay, so,
Wait, what?
well, this person, that's
Is
Frank Meister. Is it Frank Meister or not? Because he has like Frank Meister stuff.
That does look like that now that you say it.
Yeah. What? Frank, is that you? Let's see here. The sketches are pointless as a jerk. Okay, so hold on a second. So let's bring up just quickly. Here's the one confession that was.
Oh, I
So
haven't
that's what they
seen.
meant by that. Go ahead.
I haven't seen this. I saw like a headline, but I haven't seen this.
So yeah, so this is basically what was given as a sketch of what that one looked like that was in court today, of the confession. So let me make that bigger here. There, can you see that, everybody? It's just
Why would they say that he has only ever expressed remorse for killing Abby when this specifically says killing Abby and Libby, I hope to get the opportunities to tell the families I'm sorry. Like that's obviously both of them.
right? You know,
That's odd.
so this was on the yeah, this is like the March April, January, February, no, January, February, March, April, May. I always hate it when they do that because the format people use month, you know, it should just simply
Oh,
be
yeah. The US uses month day. So that's March 5th,
March
2023. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. 1147. And again, everyone, it says name Richard Allen, doc 2738819, whatever.
The
Dorm
thing
W.
that sticks out to me about this, and maybe it doesn't mean anything, is how strangely formatted it is. Like, why would he write like that?
I don't know. Okay, so we'll come back to that in just a second here. Your guys' thoughts on this one. Let's see here. Okay, so what do you think about the video that we just heard about about the video? And well, I mean, first of all, we always knew that the video to the voice was meaning, if anyone ever thought that the bridge guy was ever saying that from where he was, you know, obviously not. We all, like, I think all of us should have known that guys down the hill was put in there because it's part of the video, but they had to, of course, obviously you're not going to hear some guy that's down the bridge going, guys down the hill that clearly. So we knew that it was put in there. And like he said, that they had to manipulate it in order for people to hear it. So that it was said, but it was hard to hear, and they had to manipulate and basically to hear Libby's and Abby's voices and stuff like that. And then, of course, they were talking about the two girls. It's on the tip of my tongue. Betsy Blair. And who was the other one? That was today?
Today was Riley.
What was it? Riley Voorhees? Okay.
And oh my gosh, Bree Wilbur, I believe. Yeah. I feel terrible for Riley Voorhees.
Now,
God.
You always know the answer to this because I always forget it. Who is it that did the older guy sketch? Who was that from?
Older guy. That is probably Riley Voorhees and Sarah Carbon, maybe.
And the young guy sketch?
Betsy Blair.
Betsy Blair, right? And what about the one with the mask on the face?
I think that's the one that was supposed to come from Riley Voorhees. But if you look at that one, it's the old guy sketch with the mask on. Like it's,
Yeah.
well, or is it the opposite? Maybe it's the young guy with the mask on. It's one of them.
Mm.
But
Frank
she
stole
messed
my.
up the time, and had they not had Betsy Blair and the other girl to get them back on track, they would be screwed.
Yeah. Oh,
Did you hear about that part?
sorry. I'm not going to lie. I fucking went
That's okay.
AWOL in my brain. Go ahead, say it again.
Did you hear about the part where Riley Voorhees, I think she just misestimated the time, and had the other girl and Betsy Blair not had other stuff to back up the prosecution's timeline, they would be screwed. Because
Oh,
she said that they saw the guy they saw at 2:15, which is 2 minutes after the abduction would have happened.
right. Oh,
But she was just really off on her time.
oh, okay. No, I didn't know that.
I think
No.
she said 2:15 today, and I think on one of her original interviews with the police, she said about 2:10, but it was probably more like 5 to 2 or something like that, like 1:55 or
Check
1:50.
messenger. Who am I checking messenger for? Ben, just quickly. Yeah, no, I didn't know that. Right now, I'm just really confused in my head with this whole thing, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around it all. Huh. Who am I checking my messenger for? There's like nothing on my messenger. As for gaming and sleuthing, I want to go back to that one. Oh my goodness,
Is this
Greeno.
whole thing, sorry to interrupt you, is this whole thing handwritten?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
What?
just a sketch
That
of
is odd.
what was shown.
But like, so is he making up his own form?
No, I don't think so. Like, oh, you mean Richard Allen?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why this isn't like a typed out form that he then wrote on. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's
that was
all handwritten.
right. There's True Crime with Frank Meister. Yeah, Ivy, it's a sketch of a prison form that he wrote on.
So it's
I
like
mean,
somebody who saw it then drew it
yes,
themselves?
yes, exactly.
Oh, that makes way more sense.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought that you got that when I said it was a
No.
sketch.
Well,
Yeah.
I should have, yeah.
But you're tired too. You've
Yeah.
been on. I know. Most people are tired. Of course, my cat wants to meow. 1 second. Let me tell husband. 1 second. Let me just yell it, actually. There we go. Yeah. You hear that? Come on, fat shit. Okay, let's. Just trying to wrap my head around this all. I feel it's.
You
Go
could
ahead.
also argue that if this is what the thing looked like, you could also argue that maybe he wrote, I am ready to officially. Wait, let's see. I am ready to officially confess. This doesn't even make any sense. To basically what I was going to say is confess to killing Abby, and then after that he added Libby on there.
Yeah.
Like after the fact.
Like, I still feel, as I think I said to you today, like there's something so strange about this all. But of course, obviously, the killer would know the answer. But it's okay. So we know that the clothes were wet. So to me, good fight defense on your whole freaking they left and then came back shit, because you're not going to sit there, leave pools of blood, like you're not going to sit there, bring him back alive, have pools of blood. Oh, here, let's go over here to the spatter tree, let's drop some pools of blood here, and let's have some wet clothes. Okay, that's just not going to happen. Like, do you know what I mean? It it just doesn't make sense. It's not going to make sense. There's nothing about that. The girls, to me, were killed in that area, and then of course, staged in a sense, or however you want to put it, and then these sticks that were put on them. To me, that was not about covering. Like, I don't think it was about
I don't
camouflaging.
either.
I think it was somebody that was trying to make it seem like it was something, but it wasn't. Like, I think that they tried to make it still look maybe some sort of weird ritually thing, like that. I just use that word loosely too when I say ritually thing, but they've obviously got sticks each on their necks and stuff like that. But it was like they were purposely put there with the sake of making it look like it was placed there for a reason. And
Yeah.
because if it was just random sticks, trust me, if you're trying to hide the girls, you're gonna just kind of like scoop your hands with your gloves,
Plus,
scoop
what
your
about
hands.
leaves? Wouldn't you use leaves?
Well, leaves, sticks, like you would just grab a bunch of shit and try to cover there's Alexa there.
I'm not a fan of the prosecution claiming that it's to cover them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hi, Alexa.
Hello, how are you? How's everybody?
Hello.
Everyone's so tired. I know, like, I think whether you are at the courthouse person, whether you're like you guys like I said, have been away. Charmaine's been working. Alexa, you work weird hours still and everything like that.
Yeah, my shift starts at 2 a.m.
Yeah. So Alexa, thank you for joining us. So did you hear, like I said, like what is your thoughts first of all on today's events with the BG, just whatever.
Well, first of all, I don't have honestly, I'm too lazy to get up my laptop, and my son wasn't feeling too well, so I have him here next to me, so I can't get my laptop, so I can't see anybody. So I'm sorry, I apologize. I can't chat with you guys in the chat room, so just hello. A couple things. First, it shocked me about the video, because I always thought the video was, obviously we knew the video wasn't exactly like it was being presented, but I always thought it was going to be a little bit similar, I guess. And the fact that, they said that they played it on, when they played it, they basically didn't even see Bridge Guy. They just saw somebody all the way in the back. So what I'm a little confused, and I didn't hear at the end, is where is the part that he says guys down the hill?
Okay, so listening to the news clip that we just listened to about 10 minutes ago there, it was said, but they had to manipulate it so that we could hear it better, but it was said very lightly, like it was hard to hear it, so they had to enhance it.
But he said it closely. Obviously he didn't say it all the way from back there.
No, of course not. But basically it was at the end of the tape, which we were always told.
Yeah.
So basically, but it was because it was so low, when they put it out to us, to the public, they had to manipulate it louder, because obviously we know that it's not from when he's a distance away, but they had to splice it and kind of, but just to show the voice, and still had to manipulate it somehow. So anyways, so the other thing that kind of came into play there was, it was about Libby and Abby, whoever it was, Ivy there, that said, like there's no path. But Libby's
that killed me. That really killed me.
So, but
yeah,
that's what they heard on.
Like somebody who was reporting on that, like she was so, the way she said it and the way she interpreted, I guess you can see her emotion, and it's almost like a foreshadowing. I can't speak today. Of like, there's no path there. Like the way, they said, the way she said it, it was just, it gave them chills. The way this poor girl said it, because it was basically, foreshadowing what was going to happen in a few minutes.
Yeah.
So
I was able to find a screenshot from a few years ago. I can't take this with a grain of salt, but supposedly this is a screenshot of a message that Becky had with somebody. And the person said Do you know the order in which you saw / heard the following? And then they put this list in order. It goes Libby records BG, girl talk, a mention of the man behind them, discussion / whispering of what they should do, commenting that the trail ends, then guys down the hill was spoken. And then Becky said, the order is right until the last. He says, guys. Libby responds, then he says down the hill. And when I was watching Tom, he said Libby either said, huh, or hi. He couldn't tell which one.
Mhm. Okay.
But the gun, but they don't say gun. Because for many years, I remember everybody said that they might, she says he has a gun.
Yeah.
Right. That seems to have been watered down to a noise only. But yeah. So that's throwing me off as well. So did the police interpret it to be a gun sound? But yet, it's just strange. It's just all, why? Like, we see this video for all these years. Yeah. We know that the voice of guys down the hill is put in there and stuff like that. And as friend has spoken about what was on the thing, Barbara McDonald, a lot of people have spoken about the different things about, he has a gun, doesn't he? Gun and stuff like that. And now I'm just at a loss of what, you think that when they played the videotape today, that we would have just have imagined that maybe that there was a little bit more being showed there, or, a little bit more to it, but not kind of where it's almost been, I don't know, like things being said differently totally. Like, path, when did we never heard that ever, and yet
we did hear that. We'd heard people say that there was something like, well, the trail ends here, or there's not a path, or something like that. We have heard that. But we've also heard the gun thing.
Yeah, I guess, throughout the years, he goes, everything gets so diluted that you start, like, you guys all know, right? Everyone that's watching this right now, you guys all know that this whole case has been a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Like, through and through, and that there's so much shit you don't even know what to believe anymore, because every time you start thinking this, then you go, well, that can't happen because this and this and this, and if this is true and that's true, and then your brain just wants to explode because you just
Sunny, sorry, I'll be right back. Okay, one second. Be right back.
Yeah.
Hey, when she gets back, I guess first of all, do we think that in general that's how Richard Allen actually wrote it, like all kind of funky like that?
Well, I mean, it is off his true confession.
I would like to hear how Alexa, like, what her opinion is on it being written weird like that. When she gets back.
Yeah, definitely can ask her about that as well. So you can, because I mean, when I saw it, I was just like, okay, I know it's a replica of what supposedly how it looked, type of thing, and so this was just someone that saw it and then did it the best that they could from what
I'm impressed with their lines. They're very straight.
Yeah, I know. I you wouldn't see me doing that. And the forgery of the name.
CD says you're supposed to keep. Nope, it moved. You're supposed to keep above the dotted line on the form, so make your words fit above the line. But his are like not just that. His are like all sorts of wonky.
Above the dotted line in a form, so make your words fit above the line. Well, remember, it's somebody that's sketching it, though. It's not like they have it down pat 100%, right? I mean, they're literally just copying, perhaps. Imagine if this comes back out to look exactly like this, that means it was a photocopy, not a...
Or if it was a person in the media, he could have copied it while looking at it. Because they can go up and look at it at the end.
Well, that's just it. So, meaning we can't take it that Richard Allen actually wrote it. A little
I
bit of bald.
I don't know. I can't imagine him writing it like that unless that's how it was written.
You know what? And yet I can, to be honest with you. I personally can see Richard Allen. You know, I can. Like, I don't know why. I just simply
No, I
can.
mean, I can't imagine the media guy writing it the way this is written if Richard Allen didn't write it like that. Is that what you heard me say?
Well, I was going to say, like, to me, like, whoever drew this, to me, would have done it exactly from what they were seeing, as close as they could,
Yeah.
of what Richard Allen's confession truly looks like, which to me is very similar, obviously, to this. So,
And another
yeah.
question I have is, like, when they say that there's 61 confessions, is this one of those 61? Does this count? Because this isn't
I think
a
so.
confession necessarily. I mean, not like they were making it out to be.
The 4 would be out of place and be read.
Well, it is a confession. Let me take that back. It says that he killed them, but it wasn't the detailed part like they made it out to be, is what I meant.
Yeah. So I'm, again, holding out hope that in one of the verbal confessions that he gives precision to the crime scene of something only the killer would know. Because right now I'm just at a point where I don't even know. I'm like 50-50 on, is this going to be a shit show for the prosecution, you know, or will it be, you know, because I mean, again, it takes one juror, right? One juror to obviously find it a hung jury. What do you think, Ivy? Like, I know we're not convinced about it.
I'm not a fan of some of the theory they're putting out. Like I'm not a fan of how they're doing the sticks. I think that is disingenuous. And if I was a juror, them claiming that the sticks are there to conceal the bodies would make me skeptical of the other things they're saying too, because to me, that's just not the case.
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay, you're talking about the defense, right, Ivy?
No, the prosecution.
Oh, the prosecution. My bad. Sorry.
To me, there's no way those sticks are there to hide them.
I don't know. They weren't there to hide them. No. Alexa, Ivy wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
If this is written, so like the thing that's on the screen right now?
The confession, yeah.
Yeah, if the confession part was written like that by Richard Allen, do you think that says anything?
Yeah, I think that just shows his state of mind.
Yeah.
That he's chaotic, that he's all over the place. Well, first, I know that this is a sketch of the real one. I'm assuming, and we were talking with Sunny backstage, that I'm assuming the real one probably is typed and it's not written in, hand, like, like where it says name and all that. I'm pretty sure it's a standard form that's typed and he wrote on it. But I mean, the writing, I think it appears to be where he had it. And even the F, because when I saw it, I was like, wait a second, that looks like his handwriting. Because that F, and especially in confess, looks exactly like his F. Because I remember doing that. And if you notice, also the eyes, whoever did this did a great job. Because look at all the eyes. They look at how they look the same. But the one that he says, I am sorry, look at how it's different. It's the only eye that looks different from the other ones.
Okay.
You see?
One at the bottom here, yeah.
Yeah, the bottom one. So that caught my eye. But I mean, I think it just shows the chaos in his brain, which is good and it's also bad. Because in a way they can say, hey, maybe, was he's having a psychotic, like breakdown, like the beginning of the psychotic breakdown, or he was just, why didn't he write, from left? Yeah, from left to right, and went down, why all over the place? But I honestly think that he started writing, and this was an afterthought. I think that I am ready to, what does it say? To officially confess for killing.
Yeah.
I think that was written first. And I hope I get the opportunity. I think that's an afterthought. I think that's something he wrote
I agree.
afterwards.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm thinking that it started with I am ready to officially confess. That's
Yeah.
all. And then he added
Uh-huh.
the 4 but on the wrong line, and then killing Abby and Libby, and then last he added the I hope I get the opportunity.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it's
I
very
probably-
interesting how he says Abby first,
Yeah.
like for killing Abby, and then it's almost like Livy is an afterthought.
Well, that's what I was going with the clothes, because it's like, this is what's so strange to me is about the clothes. Keep thinking, like, I mean, obviously they were wet, right? And there was all the clothes that were in the water. And Ivy, go ahead. Ivy wants to pat herself on the back there because
do.
yeah, go ahead, Ivy, you can say it.
No, it's fine. I was joking.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I
We
didn't
were all
even hear
trying
what
to
you
guess.
said.
Go ahead, sorry.
I didn't even hear what you said besides the clothes in the water.
Yeah, and because I remember when we were all trying to guess what the frick was in the middle there, and it was people were saying, well, some people were saying undergarment, underwear, and stuff, but Ivy had said that it was the hoodie, because remember Abby had a hoodie on,
Mm-hmm.
and so, but anyways, so
And
yeah,
the jeans.
Yeah, the one that looked like
jeans.
a bag. Remember, a lot of people were like, maybe it's like a bag
That's what I said, yeah,
backwards, like a mm-hmm.
like a knapsack, perhaps.
Yeah, like an yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But anyways, so yeah, like, so I guess this one was shown today in court.
Mhm.
Like I said, this only confession here, and I agree, right? It's probably a typed out document, and then he
Mhm.
fills in that part where it says reason for request type of thing.
Was it
Mhm.
shown today? I don't know where it would have fit into today's testimony.
This confession,
Yeah.
I would think probably towards the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we never heard about it at all,
No.
Yeah.
right, until after. So it was probably towards the end, perhaps. Now, again, there's still Alexa, I don't know. Like, where are you at this point with the case?
I mean, there are a few things that I mean, we knew this was not going to be like a black and white case. I mean, come on, it hasn't been. So we knew that this case, the trial obviously was not going to be like that, that we were just going to be like, yes, we're going to walk in and saying, yes, it's a victory every day. But at the same time, I'm not discouraged. I think, like I told you, and, I think this is like breadcrumbs that, they're starting to give. And I think at the end of the day, the jurors are going to put the whole picture together. I do believe I'm liking the questions that the jurors are asking, because that means that they are aware and somebody has a little bit of knowledge. I don't know, do they have knowledge because they have somebody that is is it a cop, is it a CSI, or do they watch CSI? Because the fact that they asked about the bullet, was it put in a envelope or in a pill box?
Yeah.
That's something that not many people do, that
I
they do that.
heard that earlier there had been somebody who had testified that you'd want to put the bullet in a pill box because it would have less of a chance of like getting marked up, basically like it might in an envelope. I heard that's where that question came from.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm liking what they're asking. I'm liking what they're going. I'm liking that they're not afraid to ask questions. So that shows that they're not just there like nodding and being, like they will take everything that they're given. They're, and also they also ask the question, do they change gloves, every time? And that's a very, very important question. And it's very interesting because they should. Every time you pick up something, you should be wearing a new set of gloves.
Yeah.
Like on Friday, we'll get
Right.
into, I told you, we'll get into more of, the proceedings today. I'm too tired and, it's too long, but,
Yeah.
of the crime scenes. And like, I never process because I'm not CSI, but I worked very closely with them. So I always saw how they did it.
Yeah.
But one thing I did, and I think I was talking to Deb, I think I told Deb that shocked me is the fact that and this is crime scene 101, is the nails. Why wouldn't they swab under the nails, and why wouldn't they do nail clippings? That's standard. That's 101.
Don't you kind of feel like sorry, but my impression a little bit here is the prosecution is somewhat full of shit when they sit there and they're like, so if you had to retake the bullet pictures, would you have done anything different? Fuck off. They said no.
Of course, yes, you take it. You know what they're doing is it's the same thing when they said the gun. They're like, oh, is that a popular gun? And they're like, no, it's not. Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's one of the most popular guns in the world. I think that by them admitting yes, it's going to look bad to the jury. But I think they have to be honest. And we are all human, and we know that this wasn't done perfectly. And I think by them accepting their mistakes, but saying, hey, yeah, we made that mistake, but, we have this instead, I think it would show more to the jury.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I think the nails, and this is something that for anybody, God forbid, but you will never be abducted. You will never be, violated or intruded or anything. But if you are ever in that position, the first thing you do is you scratch the crap out of the person who's on top of you.
Right. Typically, right.
And that's like the first thing they tell you. God forbid somebody, is attacking you. The first thing you do is you scratch them, because that way you will get DNA. So that's why the nails and under the nails are so important. So when I heard that, I almost had a stroke, because I was like, no way, I cannot believe they didn't do that. But again, I honestly, I don't think this was done on purpose. Like I always believed, and I told you this on day one that I came in, I honestly believe this is a small town that they didn't see this type of, unalivings. They only heard it in the books, and it's one thing seeing it in the books and learning it, to doing it in person. I think this went over the heads. I think they didn't want to accept the FBI. The FBI, a lot of people are telling me, yeah, but the FBI could have, stepped in. No, they cannot. They get invited, and they get invited and they can say, hey, they can pull rank, but only if it's something that is federal, they can pull rank. But in this case, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So
could you believe they didn't take the sticks? Like, how can you think the sticks that were on the
that's
body?
another thing. And for me to say, and I actually call my, a former colleague of mine when I heard that, because I am not a DNA expert either. But when I heard that when they said that usually they cannot get DNA from sticks, I called my colleague, not really a friend, but it's more a colleague, and I said, hey, do you have time? Can I ask you a question? And he was like, no, of course you can get DNA from that. And he's like, would you hear such a thing? And so I told him, and I said, no.
Wouldn't a rough surface be more likely to pull skin cells off than a smooth surface?
Yeah, and they said, once again, they should have said, you know what? They never should have said we cannot get DNA from that, because everybody with 2 brain cells will know that you can get touch DNA from anything. Even if things were in water, you can get touch DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that he said that, that can, it won't hurt the case, but it looks bad on them. I think they should just be honest and say, hey, it was a mistake. Sorry, it was a mistake. But we went back and we tested them or whatever.
I don't think Richard Allen or whoever did this, we'll say Richard Allen, I don't think they're a criminal mastermind.
No.
Like, they had to have left DNA somewhere.
Yeah.
The thing with Richard Allen is Richard Allen got away because of all the mistakes that Ellie made. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you, and I'm not trying to be pretentious or be like, hey, we're better than them. I guarantee you, if this case would have been, let's say, in New Jersey, it would have been solved.
I agree.
Yeah, it would have been solved. Not even New York. I think if this case would have been in a bigger city, it would have been solved. And now I go back to what Mr. Ives said, that, in the 60s, you could have, solved it with not too much. That's what he meant. that with everything that he, that did, but the terrain didn't help either. But I think those mistakes, like, how do you not take something that it's on top of the victims? That's one of the first things you would do, is back them.
Honestly, Alexa, I know. I couldn't believe they said that there was. Oh, I think we heard too that they said that there was no blood on the sticks.
Yeah, but
How
I
is there no
mean,
blood?
yes. I'm telling you, today I almost had a stroke when I heard it. I was like, what?
Another thing that really got me was the fact that they didn't call a blood spatter analysis or
Mhm.
analysis until way late, but like, maybe if it was a straightforward thing, but in the beginning, whether they stopped believing it very early on, they, at least in the beginning, thought that that could have potentially been a symbol or rune of some sort. So you would think that would be one of the first things they did, was to get a professional who could say, was this put there purposefully, or was this just like incidental spatter of some sort?
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
crazy to me.
Mhm. And see, that's what caught my eye, because I think at the beginning they thought the sticks were a signature. And I know that as a fact, that they always
Right.
thought that the sticks were a signature.
So,
Yeah.
and now I think it was right before you got on, I was saying that if I was a juror, I would be skeptical of the prosecution a little bit, based on the fact that they're trying to say the sticks are there to conceal, because to me it's so obvious they're not.
No, they're not. Nah.
That it's like, well, if you're going to lie about that, what else are you lying about? But I'm hoping the confessions are so, like, damning.
Black and white, yeah. Yeah, I know. I want to hear that first confession, I think. And I think compare the confessions, because I think somebody who's telling the truth, and what is it that he knew that nobody else knew?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be very interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I think it's just be honest and be like, hey, we didn't pick the sticks. We, at that time, we didn't think the sticks were needed, but then we came back and we picked them up. And
Yeah.
leave it there. Don't say no because it doesn't pick up DNA, because people know that that's not true.
Yeah, I would feel a lot better about them. My opinion about everything would be a lot better if they would just admit the mistakes they made.
Yes, because now people are the people that are saying that this is a conspiracy. Here it is. They're
Mhm.
feeding the conspiracy.
Adam says he's trying to get on, but it won't let him. Just tells me no for the past 45 minutes.
No.
Does he have the right link?
Yeah.
I don't know. Just try a different browser, maybe?
That's
Yeah,
what I was
refresh. Yeah.
because there's usually only a couple things, right? It's either your phone settings aren't set to allow you to join, but Aspen's joined from. It says it can't verify my account. Aspen, go to your. Did you go to your email that I sent you? Sometimes things are just glitchy. Anyways, you guys go ahead and talk and all.
The two things that have really stood out to me that I thought if I was a juror, potentially would be a problem, and it could just be because of all the other information I know, is the sticks, and then the part of the theory about getting interrupted before crossing the creek, because the timing, if it was Brad Weber, the timing doesn't really work.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't match up. Yeah, but I also, I mean, I heard something, but I didn't follow up, or nobody followed up on. But I heard somebody saying, I think it was the news, that they said that they both had like a wet line, meaning that they obviously, because some people were speculating that they might have crossed the bridge, not the bridge, the creek naked. But by judging by the clothes, there was like a line where obviously it was wet.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's a good point.
so if that is true, that makes sense. But why were some of the clothes in the creek? I mean, did he throw them there?
Not to be graphic, but I've heard people say that it doesn't look like enough blood on the ground for them to have been killed there, but people don't have, like, even when you die from bleeding out, you don't bleed out all of your blood, right?
Well, it depends. I mean, some of it. I mean, I think for the neck, it should be a lot of blood.
I wonder, I've heard people say that, but also it's like it's hard to know how much is seeped into the ground,
Oh
how
yeah,
much you can't
especially in that
see.
type of terrain, and how much in the sweater.
Yeah.
Or did he? I mean, because I know that he dragged. I mean, Libby was dragged. So did he kill her like closer to the creek?
Well, I
And
think there's a
then,
spot by the F tree with her blood at the bottom of it.
mm, and the F tree is not close to it's not the closest to the creek, right?
I
I don't
don't
think so, right?
know. I think it's like 10 or 15 feet away, but I'm not sure in
Okay.
which direction.
Or and I'm thinking to myself, did he throw the clothes there, thinking maybe, that will wash DNA?
Maybe.
Because I mean, the clothes almost look like they were thrown in order because they're all lined up. So it doesn't look like they fell there. I mean, hopefully we'll get to hear, some type of interpretation, what they think it might have happened. But I honestly don't believe that they crossed the creek naked. That would have been too risky.
Yeah.
No, no.
See-Through said if Libby's jeans were only wet up to the knee, how was her hair wet? Who was wearing them when they crossed the creek? Did Libby fall in order to get her hair wet? Was it even wet? So many questions. I heard, and it may be impossible to know for sure. I heard that the bottom of the jeans were definitely wet, but the upper portion also looked wet. Like, you know how like if you get your jeans out of the dryer and there can be a little, it's always up at the top,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that.
Yeah. Or is it blood seeking, that is wet? Or did he maybe caress the hair and got it wet?
All those are good points too.
But it almost looks, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the pictures,
Yeah.
but I mean, in the picture, it almost looks like it's too flat. The hair is way too flat. So was somebody caressing the hair to put it that flat?
That's creepy.
It is. And I apologize for saying
Also,
that, but I mean, you got to think of all the things. But it's because to me, at the beginning, it almost looked like somebody combed her hair.
yeah, it
How
looks
flat it
very
was.
like very like sleek
Mm-hmm.
ponytail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, CD, that's one thing I've never questioned is that they were killed somewhere else. I've always been very adamant that they were killed where they were found and not later. They were killed where they were found by 3:30 or 4 o'clock and there the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See through. That's exactly what we're saying. I mean, if the thing, yeah, I think the creek would have went just through their knees, or maybe a little bit above their knees. Not to Libby, because I know Libby was taller than Abby, but definitely, why is her hair wet? I mean, did she fall or something else?
Yeah, I guess she could have fallen.
Could have. Could have.
I wouldn't think it'd be anything like pouring water on her because then you would imagine that that would wash away some of the blood on her face and neck. Like afterwards, I mean. But like a caressing, like you said, could be it. And then somebody asked about the bullet, if it was buried, because there was people talking about the bullet was buried 3 inches into the ground, which that wasn't the case. It was just under some leaves, and then kind of like at a 45, like the way it seems to me is if maybe you were to step on it, because the ground would have been soft from the snow. You step on it, so then the projectile side was in the mud slash ground, and the primer end was sticking out. The other thing is that it sounds like Abby, besides her clothes and the bottom of her feet, was clean, and a little bit of spatter on her forehead. Did everybody mute on me?
Well, I've been on mute because I've been trying to. Aspen, he's not answering me back on Messenger. Just trying to see what's going on there. Not sure why he can't seem to come into StreamYard. He said something about it not verifying his account. If anybody has bigger brain cells than I do, yeah, where you at, buddy? You fixing StreamYard? Because that's never been an issue with him. He's always been able to, log on and stuff like that. CD had the nerve to say, "Did you block him?"
The thought ran through my mind, maybe.
Yeah.
Who was it? Ben said after Patrick Cicero's testimony, he's the blood spatter analyst, even the defense believed they died there. I didn't realize that, but aren't they gonna, isn't that part of their theory that they were killed elsewhere? Or maybe they're going to claim they were taken elsewhere, then brought back, then killed?
Well, you talking about the defense?
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're going to try to say, but how would that even be possible?
I don't think it is.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, so what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and bring them back alive, then kill them, then dunk them in the water?
People want to act like it's impossible for the searchers to miss them, but what's also even more impossible is to sneak in bodies while they're searchers.
Right?
If there were so many searchers in the area that they couldn't have missed them, then how are you going to sneak in bodies at the same time?
I know. It's absolutely absurd. Like honestly, again, it would have to make sense. And I don't know what they're trying to think with that, because obviously you got blood splatter on the tree, blood splatter in pools, they got wet clothes on. So obviously that happened in the water type of thing. So, so what, they're going to bring them back alive, and then, or he's going to bring them back, or they, or whatever is going to bring them back alive and then, kill them. I don't think it's probably not going to match with any coroner's report out there with that timeline.
No. We may never know. Yeah. Did you hear that one of them had goosebumps?
No.
And apparently that is part of rigor mortis, I believe, where if you think about all the muscles contracting, when you get goosebumps, like that's, I guess, part of your muscles kind of pushing up your, where we used to have hair back however many thousands of years ago.
Yeah, tensing up.
Yeah, that's not something that I had ever heard of.
Well, I mean, don't forget, there's a lot of things that that we've never heard of, that now we're going to be like, oh, okay, it makes sense.
Well, I mean, like, I've never heard of, I didn't know that was a thing at all.
Yeah.
But that would put the timeline. I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, Alexa. Would that put the timeline right if it had been about 24 hours, 22 hours, I think?
Yes, and that's the one thing that I don't know if I heard it right, and that's another thing that caught my eye. I was like, what? That they said that they couldn't determine, or they haven't given a time, like a time of death. Is that true?
I really hope not, but it kind of, it's like, it's so crazy that would be true, but the way they talk makes it sound like they don't have a very good
they don't have an exact time, and of course they can. I mean,
Not
look at a
exact.
Gilgo. Gilgo, they know exactly approximately, and those are bones. I mean, those are people that were found years, like 7 years later. One of them was found 7 years later, and she has an approximate time of death. So why would a person who died less than 24 hours being found, why wouldn't you be able to see the exact time of death? By many things. Rigor mortis is one. That's the biggest clue that you're gonna get. How much, how the bruising and everything. So I truly don't understand. Why are they saying that they can't do that?
I mean, they said that they can do an estimate, but I don't know how precise their estimate. You would think that they could use a few different methods and together get a pretty close time.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is gonna be 100%, but I mean, their estimate can be 97% right.
Oh, what about? Oh,
I think that person misunderstood
yeah,
what was said.
kind of like the way she misunderstood this morning.
I don't know. From what I think this person's talking about is when Libby texted Bree and said, "Are you still at the bridge?" But Libby texted that before she even got there. Like Bree had sent out a Snapchat of a picture of the bridge, and Libby was wanting to go to the bridge, so
Yeah.
she sent her a message. She said, "Hey, are you still out there?" And Bree was like, "Well, we just left the bridge about 10 minutes ago. We're on our way out." But that didn't happen at the
Yeah.
bridge.
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
know why. I don't know how people are
Other
getting that.
people would be saying that if that was true.
I know they didn't take, back to the time of death thing, I know they didn't take a core temperature because they were afraid that maybe they had been SA'd and they didn't want to mess anything up with that.
Hmm.
But couldn't they still do like a liver temp?
Yeah, of course, they can do many things to do an estimation, but the biggest thing is, when they pick, when the coroner shows up, the body will talk and tell them approximately more or less at what time, how long has it been. Also, the context in their stomach. I don't know, did they do,
They ate breakfast.
okay, so then by the processing of the food, they would also be able to tell what was the last thing they had in their stomach. Like, remember, that's how that was the whole controversy of JonBenet.
Right.
So when they did the autopsy, that's the one thing I never read is, did they do a toxicology? Did they do a stomach content?
Right. Honestly, Alexa, with this case,
I don't think so. I honestly believe that probably they thought that there was no need, but I think it should have. That's something that would be important, especially.
Yeah.
Was the medical examiner a witness today? I thought they were supposed to be, but I don't remember hearing about them.
Trying to remember, there was in the morning they had the same person, Brian O'Hahe,
Yeah.
back on the stand this morning, and what was he? The medical wasn't
I
he
don't
there?
know. I can't remember.
Yeah. You guys in chat?
I was hoping that we'd get I hope there's another medical examiner that we hear more about.
Well, you know what? I'm not sure what. Sorry, first of all, you guys. Sorry, I'm not really sure what's going on with Aspen there and him not being able to log in and stuff like that. I know he's not messaging me back in Facebook or nothing. So, I mean, just use Tom. Just use Tom's login on there. So I don't know, but I was gonna say there's this. Okay, hold on. Let me just quickly play this one video. And then I know you guys are tired over there. So, because there's a half an hour video I see that's kind of like the in-depth dive from, I think it's
We've seen many times during the investigation of the murders into Delphi teens Abby Williams and Libby German. It is some of the last video Libby recorded on her cell phone before she and her friend Abby were killed. And today, the jury saw it too. That video and audio from her phone were key elements during day 4 of testimony in the case against Richard Allen. WRTV's Caitlin Kendall is covering the trial for us in Delphi and joins us now to describe today's developments. Caitlin.
Nicole, really what you just spoke about, that video and audio that Liberty German took on her cell phone, was probably the most notable thing to come out of Delphi trial day 4. And really, we have only seen and heard a couple of seconds of that video. Police did say in part of their investigation that there was more to that video. We heard the entire 45 seconds today as the jury had an opportunity to hear it and see it for themselves and then interpret it from there. The images.
Okay, so I just have to say one thing about this. I've heard 40 seconds, 43 seconds, 42 seconds, and now 45 seconds. So those little details sometimes.
Yeah, I thought the official was 43.
Yeah, 43 was always what we heard. But anyways.
Yeah, same thing. I always heard 43 seconds.
Yeah. CSI Olehi on there.
No, now
sorry.
I'm not going to be able to think about him as anything besides that.
Was this what I was playing? Wait, no. Hold on. Okay, hold on. I think I hit the wrong one. This one.
That we're going to show you right now are of the man who ISP and really a lot of people have dubbed the name Bridge Guy. It's the person in the background that ISP says of the video that Liberty took on her phone. They kind of blew that image up so that number of witnesses today could testify as to who Bridge Guy was. Many people said that they saw that man in the photo on the trails that day. And the most recent testimony was Betsy Blair, who says she saw that man standing on the bridge. Now, we did want to take a moment to let you know one person testified about enhancing the audio. An ISP, an ISP investigator with the digital forensics unit said that he enhanced that audio. We want to give you a chance to take a look, or listen rather, to that enhanced audio version.
Downhill.
It is an audio version that you have likely heard time and time again regarding this case. An ISP digital forensics lieutenant spoke about how his efforts were to try to make that audio better quality so they could release it, as well as taking the images and enhancing those images so that that photo of Bridge Guy, if you will, could be released. Now, we started testimony this morning with a crime scene investigator who testified to taking photos of the crime scene. He talked a lot about a number of evidentiary items that he was responsible for entering into evidence. He spoke a lot about the clothing of girls that were found not only on Abby Williams and Libby German, but also Libby German was, of course, naked, as we know, but Abby's clothes that she had on were entered into evidence, as well as clothing that were found in Deer Creek. All of that was entered into evidence today, so the jury got an opportunity to hear the list of evidence. And taking to the stand right now is Steve Mullen, who is the Carroll County prosecutor's lead investigator. He's already been to the stand one time. We're going to head back inside and figure out what his testimony is about, but he is the final witness to take to the stand today. We do have someone inside that'll let us know what's happening for the moment that we stepped out. We want to get back in there and bring you the very latest on WRTV News at 6.
Okay, so okay, so my thing is this, is that Alexa and Ivy Rose, I know that both of you guys are tired and it's really late where you guys are. It's 2 hours difference for Ivy, and Alexa's 3. What I was gonna do was play the longer clip since Aspen's not here, and I know you guys are tired. So did you guys want to hop off and then just listen, or do whatever? Because I know, like, I don't want to keep you guys here, knowing full well you guys are tired as anything. So it's totally up to you.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, you can play it and we can stop and talk and see.
Okay, so let me do that then. Stop screen, and then I'll play it on the little bit faster speed here. No, is this the one? I think this is it right here. Yeah. Okay, I'll put it a little bit faster.
Williams and Libby German 7.5 years ago. Thanks for joining us tonight on WTHR Plus. This is your Delphi Debrief. Our senior investigative reporter, Bob Siegel, was in court today. And Bob, today the jury heard from witnesses who saw this so-called bridge guy. What did they learn?
Yeah, Scott, let's talk about that in a second. First thing I want everyone to know about is about this video that we saw in court today. It was the first time that we've seen this video. And let me give a little bit of background to that. The prosecutor and state police have said since the day that Richard Allen was arrested, they've insisted that this crime was committed by someone referred to as Bridge Guy. And Bridge Guy is the person that Libby German captured on her cell phone on the Monon High Bridge, we believe just moments before the girls were murdered. So today the jury got to hear a whole lot more about Bridge Guy. For the first time, the jury got to see a video, all of us in the courtroom got to see a video 43 seconds long that Liberty captured on her phone on the day of the murders. And I can't, unfortunately, show you that video. The judge is not allowing us to record it or to show it, and she's not allowing cameras inside the courtroom. So I can't show it to you, but I can tell you about that video. So let me kind of explain what was on that video. It shows Abby and Libby on the Monon High Bridge. The camera that Libby had, the phone that she had was pointed down toward the bridge deck. We hear Libby say, "There's no path." So we actually hear Libby's voice on there. And then, nearly undetectable in the background of this video, an image of a man walking behind the girls and his faint voice at the very end, something you've heard before. This afternoon, jurors heard video and audio specialist from Indiana State Police describe how he enhanced the video to isolate the still picture you're seeing of Bridge Guy, and how he also enhanced the video to hear the voice of Bridge Guy saying what all seems to sound to us like "down the hill." The jury saw that image and heard the video that we've all heard so many times before. They got to hear it for the first time today. And Scott, it's incredible. When we watched that 43-second video in court today, at first, I had no idea that that is the Bridge Guy video. So it was fascinating. We got to hear two audio and visual specialists from Indiana State Police, Brian Bunner and Jeremy Chapman. They described how the video was enhanced, the video that they found on the phone, how they expedited processing of the video that investigators recovered from the cell phone that Libby had, and how they were able to brighten up the image, how they were able to rotate it, how they were able to work with the contrast and the lighting so they could capture this image of Bridge Guy in the background, who, again, when you see the video, there's only a couple frames where Bridge Guy's even visible back there. They were able to isolate that to put a picture out to the public. And then when we heard the video in the courtroom, the audio of "Down the Hill," we couldn't hear that at all. So the investigators explained how in the lab they were able to isolate background noise that was on that video so that they could get rid of that background noise and enhance and accelerate the audio on there so that we could hear "Down the Hill." And, you know, that's video, Scott, that the jury got to see today and is going to be a big part of this trial.
So, Bob, when we have seen this for 7 years, this video of Bridge Guy, you know, we see this guy walking on the Monon High Bridge. He's got his hands in his pocket. You just hear the, you know, "down the hill," but it's on a loop for several seconds. So you're talking about 43 seconds. Is there anything else that we see that the jury saw on this 43-second tape? Do we see anything else? Do we see the girls on this? Do we hear anything else at all?
Yeah, well, it appears to us that we see Abby Williams in the background walking towards Libby in this video. And I got to be honest, most of it is looking down at the railroad ties on that, what's described as this really scary walk across the Monon High Bridge. Most of that area is now completely sealed off. You can't walk on it now. Most of that bridge decking has been rehabilitated, at least the portion that the public's allowed on. But it's looking down at these railroad ties and really the usable portions, the portions that are going to be relevant to the jury here and that are of most interest is this little image in the background of Bridge Guy and the voice that we hear. So those are the things that state police really highlighted very early on in their investigation and that we hear in this video today, but we've only seen a tiny little snippet of it today. We got to see that it was actually 43 seconds. And I will mention, Scott, that because this was the first time we've heard the girls' voices on there, during the lunch break, I saw Libby's mom right out here in this gazebo. There's a gazebo right behind me here on the courthouse lawn. And I wanted to clarify. I asked her, is that Libby? Is that Abby? Whose voice did you hear on there? And she said to me, yeah, that's Libby. And she said when she heard that in court, she said, I almost fell out of my chair. She said, it's been way too long since I've heard that voice.
It's got to be so hard for that family to listen and see those images. So I would imagine that everybody, not only in the courtroom, but also those of us who are watching your coverage, want to know, is Bridge Guy Richard Allen? Has the state been able to say, you know, in front of this jury, Bridge Guy is Richard Allen? And what are these witnesses that are testifying? What are they saying about the man that they saw?
Yeah, Scott, we just completed day 4 of testimony. And other than opening statements, Richard Allen's name has not been uttered by either the prosecution or the defense. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But you asked about the people who saw Bridge Guy. We heard today testimony from 3 separate women who say that they are confident that they saw Bridge Guy either on the Monon High Bridge or walking on the path leading to the bridge in really the hour or so leading up to when investigators think the murders actually happened. So I can tell you that Riley Voorhees and Breanne Wilbur, 2 of the women who testified, they're women now. They were teenagers back when this happened. They were actually classmates at Delphi High School of the 2 victims. They testified they were out on the path together on the day of the murders, and they say that they saw who was later identified as Bridge Guy. We also heard from Betsy Blair. She's a woman who frequently in 2016 and 2017 said that she went to the trails around the Monon High Bridge and the Freedom Bridge to walk and get exercise, doing 3 loops from one bridge to the other several days a week. And she was on the trails on the day of the murders. And she says that she saw Bridge Guy, and they are confident. I want to show you some of the quotes, some of the things that they directly told the jury today. Riley said, after she saw the image of Bridge Guy released by state police, she said, I can say with confidence, the person in the picture is the person that I saw out on the trail that day, actually closer to the Freedom Bridge, but not a long distance from the Monon High Bridge. Breanne Wilbur said, that is the person we passed on the trail, as she referenced the picture of Bridge Guy that the jury was seeing. And Betsy Blair said, I immediately knew when I saw that photo that was released by state police, that was the man I saw on the bridge. So that seemed to be some very positive identification as far as these 3 witnesses, not necessarily saying that they saw Richard Allen, but saying that they saw Bridge Guy. However, there's a big problem here for the defense because of the next testimony that they gave, and that testimony came during cross-examination by Jennifer Auger, one of the defense attorneys for Richard Allen. And she really pounded away on the reports, the testimony that all 3 of these women gave in the days just after the murders took place, and how they described Bridge Guy at that time. And so I want to show you some of the things that they said, those descriptions that were brought up in court today. They described Bridge Guy back then as, Riley said, a larger man. Another one of them said a tall man, and not short, is what we heard from Betsy Blair. They described him, Bridge Guy, as someone in his 20s or 30s. And Riley Voorhees said early 20s or 30s. He was described as muscular. Betsy Blair said Bridge Guy was boyish and youthful in appearance. We also heard him describe Bridge Guy as someone with brown, poofy hair by these women who say that they passed him and they saw him on the trails on the days of the murder. Why is that such a big problem? Well, because those descriptions offered in court today by these 3 witnesses of Bridge Guy don't match the defendant sitting at the defense table, the man who is accused of these crimes. Richard Allen, by most accounts, would be described as short. He was in his mid-40s at the time that the murders took place, not particularly muscular.
We'll stop it there for a second.
Yeah, but also short compared to, I mean, don't forget, these were teenagers. So, I mean, how tall was she? I mean, if she was like 5'5", no, let's say she was 5 and he was 5'4", of course he's going to be taller than her. You know what I mean?
She estimated 5'10", I think.
Yeah.
And then one of them said that she came up to his forearm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was one where it said that it was like her head came up to his shoulders or something like that.
But I mean, eyewitnesses are so bad in general.
20s to 30s.
That's the part that
Well,
kind of does bother me. I still think that you can just count eyewitness descriptions out in general usually. But one thing that does kind of bother me is the fact that there are commonalities between all three of them. That he was
Right.
younger, that he had not blonde hair, but not super dark hair either, and curly hair. All three of them, I think, said those things.
Said blonde hair?
Said like, no, not blonde, but not really dark, like in the middle.
Right. Yeah.
And curly. The younger ones didn't say poofy, but they said
Mhm.
curly.
Yeah.
And I think they all said youngish.
They all had like in common. It wasn't like one say, hey, he had black hair or he had red hair.
Where did the red hair come from? Is what I'd like to know.
I know. Remember the brownie red hair, whatever that came out as well. Remember, then ISP ended up taking it down.
Yeah, I still just think that eyewitnesses are,
Mm.
but you can't. It's like this kind of catch-22. I think eyewitnesses tend to be a problem, but it's human nature to believe them.
Right.
And it's also human nature to forget things, to forget those details. Because I mean, if this would have been, a guy that they were in love with, I'm pretty sure they would have, remember every detail. But this was somebody that had nothing to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't recall everything.
Yeah.
But it's amazing how all of them, the three of them, say, hey, this is when they saw Bridge Guy, they say, hey, that's the guy that I saw.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
I know that's where my mind's spiraling, because it's like, hey, with confidence, the person that I did see is that person that you're showing me based on the clothes, and then but then by the same token, you have boyish, youngish, 20 to 30,
Well, I guess it's kind of like what the reporter said. They're not trying to prove they saw Bridge Guy necessarily. They're trying to prove they saw Bridge Guy, and Bridge Guy is Richard Allen.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'll play it out more there.
Wouldn't describe him that way. So the problem there is you have state police who are going to be testifying to this jury that Bridge Guy is the guy who committed these murders. Then you've got the jury having to weigh that with these three witnesses that the jury just heard from saying, we saw Bridge Guy and he looked like this, this, and this. And the things they're describing do not match the man that jurors are looking at throughout this trial and who's accused of this crime. So that is potentially a big misstep by the state today. And actually, by putting these witnesses on the stand, there was another potential misstep that came up today. And that is the state successfully, they argued to try to get the sketches of the suspect that were released immediately after the murders. The state does not want the jury to see those sketches because they say it could confuse the jury. Well, today on the stand, while the state had one of the witnesses there, Betsy, brought up these sketches and talked about the fact that the description that she offered, Betsy Blair said the reason that she was giving these descriptions was to state police investigators to help them create the sketches. At that point, Brad Rosie, one of the defense attorneys, his eyes lit up. They got real wide, and he looked over at the other defense counsel. And at the end of the hearing, he mentioned to the judge, he said, look, now this has come up in court. This has been part of the testimony brought on by one of the state's witnesses about these sketches. And he said to the judge, this is something we are going to want to revisit. So by putting Betsy Blair on the stand and having her bring up these sketches, that opens the door for evidence to be introduced that the state does not want to be introduced. So again, I think the evidence from these three witnesses on the trails who say that they saw Bridge Guy on the day of the murder, this isn't going to be the last time we hear, especially from the defense, about the testimony that they gave today, Scott.
It's so interesting. As you were talking, we did put up both of those sketches, so our viewers got a chance to see how different these two sketches look like that state police put out. Let me ask you about Richard Allen. While he was hearing this testimony from these three witnesses, what, if any, reaction did Richard Allen have as he was listening to these witnesses and hearing this testimony discussed?
Let's be totally transparent. So there are some days, Scott, where 13 News has one of 12 media passes to be in the courtroom. And on those days, I'm able to sit right in the first row, often in a seat that's right behind Richard Allen, maybe 10 feet away from him. So I get a really good view of him. Today, I didn't have one of those passes. My producer, Susan Batt, was actually in line outside the courthouse at 12:30 this morning to secure a seat to make sure that we could be somewhere in the courtroom today and to make sure that we could get a seat. So I was seated further back. I did not have as close a view of Richard Allen today. I can't tell you throughout the trial, though he has been taking notes frequently. He's also been talking with his defense counsel a fair amount, but as far as his exact reaction during the testimony this afternoon, I did not have a chance to see that.
Okay, Bob, thanks so much for answering that. That gives our viewers, I think, also an idea of the steps that our TV station is taking every day to make sure that we have representation inside to watch court and to do what you and Emily have been doing over these first 4 days. So we appreciate the whole team and their effort to make sure that we're in there. So let me talk about the pictures of the evidence that was collected at the scene. You know, we saw a lot of that yesterday in terms of inside the court. Yes. Did we get more information about that evidence today?
We did not necessarily get more information about the evidence, but the jury did hear some really interesting details about how that evidence is collected. The state wants to really paint a picture for the jury that investigators that were out at the crime scene were very thorough and methodical in how they did their job. So today we heard more testimony from one of the witnesses who testified late yesterday afternoon, Brian Olahai. He is a crime scene investigator who was kind of in charge of the crime scene right after the girls were found murdered. He testified in this morning to explain how all of the evidence was collected. And the jury actually got to see, let me see here, it was 49 different bags, some of them very small, some of them big bags. These were bags that contained the evidence that they collected both at the crime scene in an area called Ground Zero, right around where the girls' bodies were found, as well as evidence that was collected during the autopsies performed on Abby and Libby. Those were performed at a hospital in Terre Haute. And he showed these bags, and they contain clothes and shoes, swabs of blood. Libby's cell phone was in one of the bags. The bullet cartridge that is going to play a major role in this trial that was found between the girls' bodies, that was in one of the bags. There were fiber.
Stop that one there. So if they got swabs from the bullet cartridge, right? How did that not have Richard Allen's DNA on it? Considering chance, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those.
Gloves. Maybe he was wearing gloves.
Yeah, I know gloves. Yeah, but typically, it's one of those things. I guess it's like in my head. It's like, okay, so Mr. Professional here pulls out his box. Has on his whatever. I guess
Especially if he wasn't planning on using the gun.
It just, I get it. I get gloves and whatever, but you would think there would be some of his DNA on some of this shit.
Yeah, I agree. But I think, he knew that he was still going to take that gun.
Probably gave him a good wipe down. I guess that's one of the things that you would think to do right away is like put on gloves, give everything a wipe down. But you'd still just think that, just kind of like Koberger leaving his sheath there, the idiot. But anyway, yeah, okay. It's just like I said, I don't know that I don't even know.
But see, here, and they said that fibers from the girl's fingernails, but in the other one, they said that they didn't take the fingernails.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of makes it sound like they swabbed under them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but and the other one I heard that they said that no, they didn't check. And there was another lady that was talking, one of the lawyers that went and said that she was also fiberglass, said that she was like, wait a second, how come they didn't do the nails? So I don't know.
I know.
Who do we believe? God,
right.
I wish we could see this case. Even if they didn't want to do it live, like why not after? Like after 5 o'clock, play the whole thing that happened.
Travis is saying, did they swab the cartridge? Believe it or not, had 30 cases at least with shells, fired or
Mm.
not, none had DNA.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe there's something about going through the gun that I don't know, or maybe metal's not like conducive to leaving DNA.
No, metal is one of the big things for DNA.
You would think so, yeah.
You would
Mm-hmm.
think with the way you
Right.
load a bullet in, that you would leave a fingerprint, like a.
Mm-hmm. But maybe he did it with, knowing that he was going to go, and he prepped it and he cleaned it.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't seem like the type that he would be. I don't think he would be that
Efficient.
meticulous. But
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. That reminded me of something else I wanted to say. So we've talked about before how Richard Allen in general doesn't seem like the kind of guy that we've always pictured, who was so like both calm and collected, but also direct in telling them go down the hill, almost like a teacher would in a way, or a
Right.
leader. But
Mhm.
it turns out that that's not how that was said. That was said very quietly, where they could barely hear it in the video.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was
It
more of a
came across
passive.
more like, like guys down the hill, like as if
Mhm.
it was more
Yeah,
abrasive.
very quiet.
Yeah, because I remember a lot of people were like, "Oh, maybe it's like a cop or like an authority," and I'm like, "No, it doesn't sound like that."
Yeah.
Oh, I found the reason there was a discrepancy in the time of the video. So they showed the video, the original one, and that's the one where nobody could really hear anything. And then after lunch, they showed the enhanced version, and
Mhm.
that's the one that was 45 seconds long instead of the 43, I guess.
Right.
And
Right.
that's where they could hear more. I'm kind of, I don't know, I understand the enhanced, but I'm also kind of surprised they allowed that, because when you really think about it, enhanced, especially if done by like AI or something, is guessing when
Yeah,
it comes
but it was
down to it.
enhanced. No, but what they meant in enhanced was background noise. Like they didn't do anything to manipulate what it was there. They just isolated it to bring it
Okay,
out.
that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like they're putting anything in. They're just taking anything so we can hear more clearly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because we all don't believe he's a rocket science. We do believe that more that it was a bad job collecting the evidence.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Oh yeah, please.
Yeah.
Don't even go there.
Okay.
What
I'm
happened
gonna
to the smeared fingerprint or whatever? Remember that?
Yeah, I remember about the smeared fingerprint.
I wonder where
Partial
that was at.
partial fingerprint.
But I am sure he had to leave DNA somewhere. I think
How
they probably
often do
missed it.
people use knives and not leave their own DNA somehow?
Right.
Even sweat. I mean, because he seems like the type of person that, that he would probably break a sweat. How do you not leave a couple drops of sweat?
I was gonna say, just to ask you, 2 knives were recovered, is that correct?
No. Well, you mean like involved knives or just in general knives?
No, involved knives.
I think they said there were 2 different ones, used.
Not recovered though, but
But
used.
they recover. Right. But I thought from Ron Logan's PCA that
They haven't recovered any knives that they know was used at the scene.
That we know. I mean, they were taken. I mean, from his house, a bunch of knives, but I don't think any.
Wait, Aspen. Wait, what did he say? Hold on. You guys go ahead and talk for a sec.
Yeah. So I mean, I never heard that 2 were recovered. I mean, I always heard that there were no knives at the crime scene, and that came from somebody close that had seen the crime scene. That they always said there were no weapons left at the crime scene.
Yeah, that was always like an early rumor that there was one left.
Yeah. So,
do you think that he actually used a box cutter and threw it away in the CVS dumpster?
I mean, it's possible, but I wouldn't think that he would be more prepared than that. I mean, the box cutter. I mean, could be, but I mean, to me, it would be more like a knife, that he would bring a knife.
Yeah, that's kind of how
More prepared. I think he definitely came prepared to do what he. I don't think, I don't even think that this was supposed to be just, let me essay them or whatever, and then I'll let them go, or I will let her go. I think he came here for what he did.
Because how do you assault two girls in a town so small where you
Mhm.
live and
Mm-hmm.
then expect them not to see you somewhere?
Mm-hmm. I know. Why not go to a bigger, if you wanted to do that, why not go to a bigger town?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. No. I mean, to be honest, and the more I think about it, the more I think that maybe he knew, and maybe he stalked. I always believed Livy, but I think maybe he knew who she was. But the question is, how did he knew that she was going to be there?
Yeah, that's
So that's, I mean, is it possible? If you stalk somebody, obviously you can. But, you know.
it was interesting that Betsy Blair said that from her, it seemed to her like he was waiting on someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they said that he was like walking like on a mission, like almost like meeting somebody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes you think and be like, and also the timing, like if, you know, because I mean, if you're, let's be honest, they're hunters. Those type of people are hunters. So if you're going to do that, you say, okay, that day I'm going to go hunting and I'm going to go from the morning and see what prey do I get. And I'm sorry for calling them prey, but that's how they see them.
Mm-hmm.
So 22 minutes, I mean, that's not a lot of hunting. Like, how do you pick? I mean, somebody that might have experience, if you have done this maybe 6-7 times, yes, maybe you can do it. But for your first time, how do you only do like less than 22 minutes?
Yeah, and like how lucky would that be that he, for his first time, went out randomly and he found his, like you said,
Two
prey
girls, perfect, perfect
almost
age, perfect.
immediately.
I don't know.
Like he had been at the bridge for probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes max.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. So just I'll keep playing this, you guys. But I mean, Aspen said I figured it out, and then he sent me a clip of something. But I keep saying, "Are you joining us?" So, but he hasn't answered me back yet.
Can
He's
I
like,
answer?
Was he able to join?
well, I mean, he said figured it out is what he said. So, meaning
Oh,
he
okay.
figured it out, whatever was the issue going on. So I was just expecting him to kind of just pop on right now. But we'll give him a few minutes. But I'm just going to continue playing this for a second. And again, thanks to anyone that's coming in. There's 38 from Twitter. Hey, Twitter. 82 in the It's a Crime Extreme channel. Please hit that like and the share. And Elvis Fields confessed to the crime. Yeah, well,
There's
who knows
been
with this
no,
case
now that
anymore.
the crime scene pictures have been shown, there's been no antlers or horns.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, I mean, I know. Anyway, I'm just going to continue playing this one, you guys.
Collected from the girl's fingernails. That's some of the types of evidence that was collected at the crime scene. And by showing these bags to the jury, they were trying to explain how all of this evidence was collected, that it was very secure. I thought it was interesting. I personally was interested in seeing the evidence inside the bags. I'm guessing maybe some of the jurors were interested in seeing that as well. We did get to see photographs of that evidence yesterday. Today, it was just the brown paper bags. They were labeled and it had the chain of custody on there again. It was really the state's way of trying to help the jurors understand the great lengths that crime scene investigators go to secure evidence and to make sure that it is safe and that the integrity of the evidence is maintained in case it needs to be tested, in case it needs to come up at a later time as evidence that needs to be looked at more closely for a trial like this.
Hey, yeah, it's good that you're talking to our viewers about that chain of custody. While you were talking, we did see some video of the river that was near what the authorities are calling, ground zero, where the bodies were found. I'm interested in hearing from you about the clothing that was gathered at ground zero and the fact that one of the girls not wearing any clothes, the other girl wearing the other girl's clothes. Is that what was found and talked about during the trial today?
Yeah, we did hear about how Abby Williams was wearing Libby German's sweatshirt and pants. And there was an interesting question that was submitted by one of the jurors asking the crime scene investigators, was the ground under Abby Williams, did it appear that there was a disturbance there or that the leaves had been brushed away to suggest that perhaps that switch of clothing might have taken place right there at the crime scene by whoever might have committed the murders? We were told by the investigators it did not appear that there was a disturbance like that. So I thought that that was really interesting. Scott, you mentioned about just how much evidence has been collected, and that means that these jurors, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, there's a risk that they're being overwhelmed with exhibits because every single one of the photographs, every one of the reports, the CVs, the resumes of each of the experts going up to talk to the jurors. There's so much evidence, and every bit of it is pretty much entered as exhibits that the jury can refer to later. And so they are just collecting one piece after another, all these exhibits that are, they call it being published. By publishing it, it's accepted by the court, and then it's published, and it goes into a binder, a folder that these jurors can refer back to over and over again throughout the trial. They're not allowed to take any of those exhibits out of the courtroom with them. They all have to stay in the court every day at the end of the day when they leave the court, but then it's there waiting for them when they come back, and will be available to them in their deliberations. And speaking of exhibits, today, there was an interesting development in this case that didn't happen here in Delphi. It actually happened a couple hours away over in Fort Wayne. If you recall, over the summer, there were some pretrial hearings, and there was tons of exhibits that was entered during those hearings. The judge basically had told us we requested to see those exhibits, and the judge said, no, not going to let you see them until after the trial's over. We pushed back, and the judge finally allowed access to those. That was today over in Fort Wayne, and our Emily Longnecker went to Fort Wayne, went to the Allen County Courthouse to look through all these exhibits, and I'd like to check in right now with Emily to find out what was actually in those exhibits. Emily?
Yeah, that's see-throughs was right about that.
Yeah, Bob, during those pretrial hearings in July and August, we saw both the state and the defense enter into the record lots of exhibits. And today we got a chance to look at some of those exhibits. They were here in Allen County. We were not allowed to video any of them or take pictures. All we had, like during the trial, our paper and our pen to copy down, in some cases, word for word, exactly what we were seeing. The most notable pretrial exhibit today came from the state. It showed a form the state says Richard Allen filled out requesting an interview with the Westville prison warden, John Gallipo. Now, that form was dated March 5th, 2023. On it, 2 sentences the state says Richard Allen wrote, quote, "I am ready to officially confess for killing Abby and Libby. I hope I get the opportunity to tell the families I'm sorry." Now, you'll remember that the defense has pushed back on 60 plus alleged confessions that the state says Allen has made during his time in prison. The defense has said that Allen made those alleged confessions during mental duress caused by the solitary confinement conditions that he was living in. Judge Gall ruled in late August after those pretrial hearings that the jury would be able to hear those alleged confessions during trial. So we do expect that this paper that we saw today here from the pretrial exhibits, that the jury will likely see that. And we looked at several other exhibits. There were thousands and thousands of pages. We couldn't get through them all, but we spent a good part of the day going through them. Here's what we did not see, which we heard about during the pretrial hearings, and we thought we might see them today when we got to view these exhibits, but we did not see them. We did not see autopsy reports for Abby Williams and Libby German. We did not see emails from Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter with updates. They included updates to the FBI in the early days of the investigation. We did not see those emails that were talked about during the pretrial hearings. We also didn't see a report from Steve Mullins, an investigator for the state who was Delphi's police chief at the time of the murders. We learned in pretrial hearings that that report detailed interactions that Mullins had with a possible suspect. Now, at the time, the state objected to that report being entered into the record, but it was entered noting their objection. We also saw several exhibits dealing with Odinism, a Norse pagan religion. The defense has said that they believe that Abby and Libby were killed in a ritualistic killing as part of an Odinistic ritual killing, and they have deposed several people that they believe are potential suspects that could have been involved. We read through some of those depositions today. Again, hundreds and hundreds of pages. We could not get through them all. Now, keep in mind that Judge Gull has ruled that the jury will not get a chance to hear about that defense theory or hear about those alternate suspects. That ruling came out also in August. But again, I think the most notable exhibit that we saw today was that piece of paper that the state says Richard Allen signed to the prison warden, saying that he was ready to confess to the killings of Abby and Libby and apologize to their families. Bob?
Thanks a lot, Emily. So we should point out, Judge Gull has ruled that the Odinism information and the evidence and the witnesses surrounding that, as far as a third-party perpetrator, that the jury would not be able to hear that, but the defense will get another chance during the trial to try to convince the judge to allow them to present that to the jury in what's called an offer of proof. So that is still yet to come. Scott, you had mentioned earlier, what has the jury heard so far about Richard Allen? Well, you know, the jury heard during opening statements, the state say that that is the individual who is responsible for the deaths of Abby and Libby. Since then, through 4 days of testimony, not a word about Richard Allen, and that's not by mistake. You know, they are trying to lay the groundwork, very systematically working their way up for the jury to help them understand the crime scene, the evidence that was collected, the terrain, the geography, and then moving their way into people who are at the scene, who can identify Bridge Guy, that we heard that today. And so we expect in the next several days, we will transition from the general details about the crime scene and Bridge Guy to the state trying to help the jury to understand why they believe that Richard Allen is Bridge Guy and why he.
Stop that there, because our boy's in the house. Hey, buddy. Can't hear you. You're muted. Muted.
Sorry, that took forever.
Oh, look at you, Howard. Okay, what happened?
I don't know. It's never made me log in that way before, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
It could have been user error. Like my brain is like half mush.
I'm thinking user error, because I think I know what you were going through, because I think I experienced that same thing where I was like, what the fuck? But anyway, and then I got it to work. But anyways, so you're probably going to be leaving here right soon, aren't you, to head to the court?
Well, so yeah, so when I was trying to get it to work, I drove up to the courthouse real quick. There's already people online, so I was like, I'm gonna have to get in the shower and get up there.
Okay. Just, you know what, just give a quick synopsis of you yourself, and then I'll let you get going.
But you know, I sent you a video from Wish 8 from Wish
Yes,
TV. Is that the one that's playing?
No.
And the girl, Kyra, that I was sitting next to, we shared notes all day, and so
nice.
Honestly, her news broadcast was pretty much my notes.
Oh, okay.
She was really cool, and I really liked her. So anyone that lives in the Indy area, watch Wish TV. But no, I mean, I think today was first of all, I want to apologize to everyone for not like having kept everyone up to date. Like, it's been really overwhelming, like in a way that I didn't think it was going to be. I mean, I anticipated that the experience would be intense.
Yeah.
I mean, because I mean, everyone that's watching this and everyone that covers it cares about these victims and these families. I don't think I had built up the battle armor I think that is required to withstand the longevity of this experience. I mean, I like basically kind of, I mean, I was in Fort Wayne for a week, so I mean, I know that most people did not go through that too. So I was exhausted by the time I got to Delphi, emotionally and physically, and then to be met with such a toxic, dark environment and an atmosphere surrounding the trial. I just don't think I guess maybe I'm too much of an optimist. I didn't anticipate that people were that self-serving and that in it for their own good. But I guess they are. And so, we saw family members, having to express the fact that they felt like there was a circus-like environment on night one, and I couldn't disagree. And it kind of set a precedent for, I think, the fact that now it's 1 a.m. and I've had 3 hours of sleep in the last night and a half, and I'm gonna jump in the shower and
I was gonna
walk
say, you
back up to
sound
the
like
courthouse.
you sound like you're totally out of it and drunk almost. From just being, but I get that because honestly, I've been there where I've been so tired that you're literally just slurring words, kind of like what you're doing a little bit now, and just fucking exhausted. So, I know it. And that in itself makes somebody very emotional. I know that for me it does, and I know that we're both cancers. But I know for me, when I'm tired, I'm very much more emotional when I haven't had proper sleep and stuff like that. So you know what, Aspen, talk to me tomorrow. And let me just ask you quickly, Alexa or Ivy, did you have one thing that you wanted to ask Aspen before we let him go?
Because I've gotten a lot of information. I just haven't been able to put it together in a way that I can convey it to anyone. But if you ask me a question, I might be able to.
No, well, say first hi, and I hope
Hey.
you get a little bit of sleep or freshen up and get a strong coffee. No, what I want you to do me a favor is I want you to pay attention to the jury and
And,
the body language. I want to see how are they reacting.
I've got theories, Alexa.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And how long are you staying there for?
I'm well. If you'd asked me yesterday, I would have said,
I know.
who knows? But I decided to give it another go, and I got up this morning and I went, and that was at 2 a.m. I laid down for about 2.5 hours when I got back tonight.
Yeah.
And now it's time to go back to court. So
try to take the weekend off at least, Aspen.
but there's court on Saturday. There is no
I know,
weekend.
yeah, I know that, but you know what?
Why don't you and at least like you and Tom or whoever
swap
take
out.
shifts?
Yeah. Well, and the way that they have it structured, which that's a whole nother
It's terrible.
Thing. I mean,
I know.
the fact that you can line up at 2 a.m. and get into a morning session, and then at noon they make you take all of your things out of the courtroom, leave completely.
Right.
And there's already a line formed for the afternoon session.
Right.
So unless you're willing to give up any food or water, you can't go to the afternoon and the morning session.
Jesus.
I feel bad saying it, but it almost feels like they want it to be a circus.
It feels like someone's being punished for something that their sibling did.
Right.
But it's not about any of us. This is about Libby and Abby, and it's about their families, and any of us that are here, we're choosing to do it. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, this always has been about Abby and Libby. It's never been for the clicks and views or the or super chats or anything like that. It's always been about Libby and Abby and wanting to have justice. That's what we've been fighting for so long. But in saying that, so I mean, of course, I appreciate you're there, even though I didn't know you were there at first at all on there. So I know that you were heeing and hawing about it, but buddy, we'll talk tomorrow. Get some.
It's definitely been a more emotionally taxing than I had anticipated.
Yeah.
And I don't like to admit that because it makes me feel vulnerable. But I pretty much thought I could handle anything, and this I mean, we're only on day 4 and I'm 5 today, and I'm like, I already felt like I hit a breaking point, and
I'm hoping that people will run out of money and run out of extra time to take off work, and it won't be so crazy after maybe the first week.
I keep thinking that, but like I said, it's 1 a.m. and there's already people in line.
Yeah. So, buddy, love you. Go get yourself ready. Go get a shower. Wake up a bit, but please try to take this weekend off. At least, I mean, like at the end of the day, there's many days to come, but honestly, like you look exhausted, you sound like I said, you know, like I can just see you're slurring your words. You know, get your rest, okay? And maybe you can switch with Tom and like and do one,
Mhm.
but at least catch some rest this weekend. But anyways, um, obviously I know that you said that it's been hard on you, and I get it because it's kind of like one of those things, like kind of what I said to you in the message, like we've been doing this for a long time. We're here for a reason. It's for the girls. Sometimes you have to block that other shit out just to get through shit and stuff like that because this has been very important to us. You know, this case, not for any other reason besides justice for the girls and knowing that the families have been going through this shit for a long time. But anyways, those are my last words to you tonight because I want you to go shower, get ready, stand in line, and
You gotta
you know,
get big coffee. And you know what? It's okay to be vulnerable. I mean, you know, this is not your, you know, this is not what you do. I mean, it's
This is
hard.
not the place
For
for
anybody, it's
vulnerability.
hard. So it's okay.
yeah. And if anyone here, you guys, Aspen Connor, you know his channel, Aspen Connor. That's all you have to type into Google. If you guys can help out, throw him and Tom in that some extra bucks. Help those guys out. Like honestly, this is what we call true boots on the ground stuff.
Yeah, it
I
looks
know.
like my Airbnb partners dropped out, so I'm 100% solo on this all.
I thought you were staying with Tom.
No, we did for 3 nights,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
and
Okay.
then I'm sure like Tom would say, "I need a break from you."
On there. Well, I was gonna say, so if anyone can go help Aspen out and whatever, just hop over to his channel. Honestly, and then just he's got Venmo, PayPal. I think Charmaine said she sent you some money there.
You did,
On
Charmaine. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't respond.
Okay. But anyways, yeah. So if you guys can help him out, because again, you know, boots on the ground stuff, doing stuff that a lot of us, I would love to be doing, but I can't, or else I'd be switching out nights with you there, buddy, for sure. You know, but
And
anyway,
I'll have to give you a tour of this Airbnb in a day or two because it's gorgeous. Like,
yeah,
I can see the woodwork. It looks
it's
nice.
I'm in like a giant Victorian house by myself.
yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
it
I
looks
love it.
great.
Yeah, but anyways,
So,
get going, buddy, get going.
Yeah. Take care of
okay.
yourself.
Don't want to
Okay,
keep
and
you.
then tomorrow, yeah, just so everyone knows, today will probably be a rough day when it comes to like the information that comes out because I have a feeling there's going to be more of the autopsy. There's going to be the autopsy things and things like that released
Okay.
Okay.
if they're allowed.
Do you think we'll hear of a time of death approximately?
If there's one.
Right. Okay.
That scares me.
Okay. All right. Talk to you
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Good
Take
night,
care.
everyone.
Bye bye. Thank you and good luck.
I will give you an update as soon as I get out tomorrow.
Yeah. Tomorrow I'm in office working Wednesday and Thursday. So I'm kind of in the office more so, but I'll look for any messages if you send any there. Okay.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Good night,
Love you.
everyone.
Okay. Good
Okay.
night. Take care.
Okay. So do you need me to boot you?
Nope.
Are you good? Okay. So I'll play that clip that Aspen was talking about that he did send me.
Yeah.
So I think it's about,
Do we have his Venmo or Cash App or something to put in so
yeah,
we can
you know what, let me go get that.
That's a good idea, CD.
I was just being lazy, to be honest with you.
My wife's still there. All
Do
right.
you need
All
me to
right.
help
How to
you?
leave? Bye. This is what 4 days in Delphi does to your brain.
You should just boot him out.
Is he gone yet? Okay.
No.
No, he's not. Here, I'll help him. Wait, I can't wait. Remove. There.
There we go. Wait, you know that old school like Dare commercial, the anti-drugs is like, this is what your brain is like on drugs, and it's like a broken egg in a frying pan.
Yeah, I
We need
remember that
but for Delphi.
Okay, because he has different links here, you guys. Oh my goodness. I can't even click myself. 1 second. I hate that I can't even click 6 more links. Okay, which one? We'll do his Venmo, Cash App. Here. Hi, Curious. Okay, there's Aspen's Venmo. He couldn't even figure out how to leave. Let's see here. His Cash App on there. And I'll do his PayPal. I think that's it. PayPal. So I'm just dropping a whole bunch of these links up there. Oh, I might as well drop another one here. Go buy him some coffees. Okay, there we go. Okay.
I know if I miss one night of sleep, the next day I have like a ton of energy. But then if I miss the next night's sleep, then I just want to cry everywhere.
My bad. Boop. I know, right? Okay. Let me just play this and then whatever we want to say, and then we'll get off for the night here. Because Aspen said it was a good one. That was, where is it? This one? It's 3 minutes.
Today in the Delphi murders trial, the jury has now seen the video recorded on Libby German's cell phone just moments before the girls were killed. It shows a man walking on the Monon High Bridge. News 8's Kyla Russell is in Delphi at the Carroll County Courthouse breaking down the biggest moments of today's testimony.
The now 45-second clip was taken on the Monon High Bridge on February 13th, just moments before the girls disappeared. And now the new enhanced version is revealing new details. An audio expert called in by the prosecution played the full length of what's been called the Bridge Guy video. It was taken on Libby's phone on the Monon High Bridge just seconds before the girls disappeared in February of 2017. In it, a man known as Bridge Guy is walking near the girls. Here's how the dialogue goes. The girls are walking along the bridge and you can hear Libby say, "See, this is the path." There's no path there, so we have to go down there. And 12 seconds later, Bridge Guy says, "Guys?" And Abby Williams can be heard saying, "Hi," very timidly. Finally, we hear the line we've heard for years. Bridge Guy says, "Down the hill."
Guys, down the hill.
The video is then sort of thrown around and cuts off. We know that video was the last known activity on Libby German's cell phone. We also heard from several people who were on the trails that day and say they saw Bridge Guy. First, we heard from Rayleigh Voorhees. She was 16 and was also on the trails. She showed the jurors on a map the route she walked and where she came across Bridge Guy. She said hi to him, and he did not say hi back. Next up was Brianne Wilbur. Brianne was one of Libby's sisters, Kelsey's best friends. She said she passed him on the trail that day, too. She got weird vibes from him, and she said she was confused. He was dressed in so many layers on an unseasonably nice day for February. Finally, jurors heard from Betsy Blair, an avid hiker of those trails. All three of them told the jury they knew they had seen Bridge Guy as soon as they saw his photo, but Rayleigh noted the photo may have tainted her memory of him. And a mass amount of new physical evidence reveals more details about the case. Several sealed brown bags carry blood swabs, Libby's colored t-shirt found in Deer Creek, a pair of Hollister jeans, and pink underwear. We expect to continue hearing from witnesses that saw Bridge Guy that day or have any idea of his whereabouts in the following days. Reporting here in Delphi, I'm Kyla Russell for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
Coming back. 1 second here. There, I clicked the wrong button here. Okay, so I'm just gonna and then I'm just gonna bring up that confession just to put it back up on the screen again. And thanks, CD. He said Aspen sent you $20. Get some coffee, my friend, on there. So thanks for doing that, you guys. I'm sure, like I said, it's very costly down there. So if anyone can help out Aspen, that would be great. Travis, dig into your pocketbook, send him $1 million. Come on now. Come on now. You're probably the broke lawyer, aren't you? Was it the last activity, and why is it 3 mile? Wasn't last activity? Wait, what? And why is
I think
it
he's talking about the video. It wasn't 3, it was 1 mile is where the GPS put the location, but I don't think it was completely accurate. I don't know how it could,
from the bridge? You
like,
mean to the
yeah,
girls?
how it could just pop from the bridge
It was
to
a
a
quarter.
mile away and then back to the bridge. I think it's just one of those things with like
Yeah,
GPS and all that stuff
it
back
was.
then.
Yeah, because it's a quarter of a mile. Yeah, there was and I think it was. I think it was on Laura Lee's. She put up. She put up the map of the two things: the bridge and where the girls were found. Way down, way past Ron Logan's land, as if it was almost at the other bridge over there, on there. But it was just one of those small things that you go, two things and you got it wrong.
Yeah, that's disappointing. It's
Well,
kind of it's annoying to watch people who haven't been following the case try to
Mm.
cover it, but at the same time, it's
yeah,
interesting to see what their opinion is watching it when they don't
yeah,
have the information we do.
yeah. Yeah, and I think, don't you agree, Alexa, too, kind of, because some of them are really enjoyable to watch, but
Mm.
yet struggle sometimes when they're talking about the case, and because they're not familiar with it. Like,
Yeah, they don't know all the little details. Yeah.
yeah,
I
so
think it was Andrea, in case anybody else that's watched her is watching, and unless I misunderstood, I think I kept hearing her say that he did all this within, like, 20 minutes, but no, it was, like, an
Mm.
hour and a half he had. He had plenty of time.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, right, exactly. I mean, I guess it depends still on all the timeline with everything. Like, seriously, it really boils down to all that, because I guess we're probably basing that off the fact that Sarah Carbonell saw Bloody and Muddy leaving there at 3:56.
That's
And
still, like,
oh yeah,
2:15 to that's an hour and a half.
yeah. We actually don't know exactly when the girls were killed, but sometime, obviously. Well, we know that they were found
Yeah, well,
at
I mean, just, like, from the time they were abducted.
yeah, yeah. It sure it didn't happen in no 20 minutes for sure, especially if they're unclosed. Oh, I think Travis made a comment, something. What did he make a comment on? I think it was about the sticks.
Well, he just made a comment about he said last activity was hands-on phone per opening. I'm skeptical of that. I kind of feel like that may end up being, like, the timeline that proves he was gone by 2:15 when that actually is just, in my opinion, probably based on Betsy Blair's sighting of the car. And then he said experts said it was down in downtown Delphi. The video, I don't know what GOS is.
GPS, I think he meant, right?
Duh. The video GPS estate expert had no explanation. I thought the GPS was at the high school, which is like a mile. Because even downtown Delphi is not that far. I don't know. I have a feeling it just has to do with accuracy.
Yeah. Why would the
But I don't
state
know for
say
sure.
who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. I don't
Do
agree
I,
with that
do I
part of the
believe that
theory.
they were taken away? And Travis, do you believe that they were taken away and then brought back? That would seem like kind of ridiculous. Having all the, like I said, the so-called splatter tree, pool ponds, wet clothes, for them to bring them back alive and then decide to kill them in the different spots, and stuff like that. That seems quite absurd. I have more faith in the tracking than I do. Well, it's technology, right? Some of that shit is way beyond my brain cells for sure.
No,
On
and
that,
another thing is, why would you bring it back to a place where you know that you took them from and they're going to be looking for them?
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
well, no one's going to sit there and go, you know what? I'm just going to take them away from the crime scene. Instead of ditching them here, I'm going to bring them all the way back, dip them in some water, slice their throat here, do this, leave a pawn. I don't believe that for a second, Travis, myself. The hands-on phone was at 4:30 a.m. And if somebody's hands were, I know, I don't even believe that, to be honest with you.
No.
Even I don't even
I
believe
think
it
that was either a glitch with the phone or, gas, gases in the body and, like jerk movement, or maybe something, an animal passed by and moved the body, something that
Yeah.
trigger it.
One thing that this prosecution, I want to say there was either one witness said it a few times or there was a few witnesses that said it. They made sure to say that you could see condensation either on the phone or in the phone. And to me, that was probably setting it up for later to say that it was water damage that made
and
it
then
do
it
that.
turned back on.
Yeah, and that happens, right? Because I mean, it's happened to me that my phone, no, this one is waterproof, but my previous one wasn't waterproof, and sometimes I would get it wet, and I would have to wait until it dries, and then my message, like it would die, and then my messages, then it would power up by itself at whatever time, and everything would start coming in.
Yeah.
So that is possible.
I'm waiting for the confessions. That's my big thing in my head, is that, okay, yeah, we have one in front of us. Great, on paper. I want to hear audio confessions at the start when he started first confessing. I want to hear it all. I just want to hear it all.
That would be great, but at least I want to hear that first confession. Like, what words did he say? How did he say it?
No, I think who was it, that Anthony, that lawyer guy, Anthony from Indiana?
Yeah.
I watched his. Was it you that sent that one to me? Yeah. I mean, that was pretty funny, actually, watching that.
I love him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's kind of a bit of a douchebag, but because he only, it's kind of like he never answers, or he'll answer you back and then he'll like not answer you back. But then when he wanted something, he was right there messaging me on there. So anyway, I'll forgive the douche because he does make me crack up a bit when he's talking. But anyway, so when you were talking about the confessions, he's like, if there's one thing that the jury's not going to get over, it's those
confessions. Yeah. And 61, I mean, I'm telling you, I told you, I've seen fake confessions. I've heard about it too.
Yeah.
But I never, ever heard 61. And I was asking people that have been in law enforcement for, 40 years. And I was asking, detectives and everybody. And I'm like, have you ever heard? And nobody has ever heard 61 confessions.
Yeah.
Never.
I mean, we also have him placing himself there, at the bridge. So what's the likelihood, though, right, that everyone's going to think of? What's the likelihood that somebody admits to being there, that a bullet is found there, that so supposedly matches his gun, that he admits to wearing the same clothing as well, and so it means, like, when somebody literally admits to that, and then on top of that confesses, right? I'm going to be very interested in seeing how the defense plays that he left at 2:15, versus the 4:56 time. I'll be curious.
I would almost bet money it's the Betsy Blair car witness.
Say that again.
I said I would almost bet money that it's because Betsy Blair's said that she saw a different car at 2:15 that wasn't the description of his car.
Right. You're because looking at the PCA, that was the only thing that made sense, was that her timing and the different variations of cars. Because there's also some other guy, like let me just 1 second. I'll just see if I can.
Did we ever, you were looking for the redacted PCA. Did we ever get that?
Yeah, we did. So
yeah.
We did get that, and I have it in my video, but I for the life of me can't find it somewhere in my paperwork. But I know it's there. But anyways, so yes, we did. But so what happened is that they put it out, Ivy, and then as fast as they put it out, they took it down and put out the redacted version.
The redacted version, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I have the unredacted still. suck you there, Fran Gulf, for doing that. So like, right, we have all the names. But anyways, let me just get back. Let's see here. Because there was the PT Cruiser. Okay, so let me see. Let me just make this bigger for myself. Is that going to help? Wait, can you guys even see that? Okay.
Yes.
Let's see. Let me just go back to it. It's probably where. Let's see here. It says he stated it appeared, though it was backed in to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Betsy and Terry both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally matched as to the area the vehicle was parked and the manner in which it was parked. Wesley McWhirter advised he remembered seeing a smaller, dark-colored car parked at the old CPS building. He described it as possibly being a smart car. McWhirter's vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 on the Hoosier Harvestor, whereas Betsy's was, where was the 2:14 time? Delphi State Road, which Terry Wilson stated he was on his way to Delphi at around 2:10, blah, 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 blah. Was it just a little further? That hers was, before that. Right here, 2:14. Betsy advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle was seen on the Hoosier Harvestor video at 2:14, leaving westbound. Betty advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Services building. She said it was odd, or not odd, for vehicles to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked back in the building. Investigators received a tip from Perry Wilson. So that's kind of what it says there. So it was basically at 2:14 and 2:28. So that's where, to me, that's going to come into play about the whole 2:15, that, oh, well, I mean, that's obviously wasn't Richard Allen's vehicle then, but that's how I think they're going to try to play that angle too, is with the timeline right there. But you know what? Let the I guess marbles fall where they may, with this case, because it really is one of those ones that there's so much sloppiness, there's so much things that the defense can attack with how things were handled, from the bullet to the sticks to the dog, everything being just, ridiculous, to be honest with you. And so, like, I guess if the evidence is there to prove it, then it's there to prove it. If, and I think that will come from the confessions.
And it doesn't have to be perfect either. I think that, even if like the defense has a day that, there's going to be a win, that they can say, hey, maybe he left early. That doesn't mean that, it's the end of the road. I mean, like I said, they have to hear the whole story. And at the end of the day, they're going to put everything together.
Right.
And it's going to be like 1 + 1 + 1. You know what I mean? And I am very confident that at the end of the day, they're going to be like, yeah, I believe he did it.
Right. And then that will come down to, really, like I said, if it is, it's going to come down to, because he put himself there. He said he was wearing the same clothing.
Yeah.
He confessed. He's going to give, according to McClellan,
Like,
he's going to
what
give
are the chances? Like, think about it. Like, think about common sense. Like, what are the chances of, somebody looking like you in a video with the same clothes that you said you put yourself there? There's like, you were on a video, or you're driving your car there. So you put yourself there, and then it happens that 2 kids get, unalive.
Yeah. And even Travis said here, I'm aware that can out in motions last year. State says that there's confessions only a killer would know the details. I think he meant to say, if that's true, it's over. And that will be the knife in the coffin, is if there's stuff that's only the killer would know. Because I personally believe that he has done true confessions, and that he's faked false confessions as well. And I know that another lawyer said the same thing that I had said about this as well with that. And, so I think that after they were trying to retract the confessions, that then it became I just, I killed my whole family.
Because he's trying to create that he's not psychologically fit. Yeah.
And honestly, I absolutely believe that anyone in his position, everyone's going to have breakdowns. Everyone's going to have, go through some sort. I don't not believe that, but I personally gut feeling, I believe that there's a difference between confessing and being sane, and then confessing and acting, and basically, like I said, and that's where I feel like this has happened with Richard Allen. I think most of those false confessions that will come out are because it's bullshit. Because it's just bullshit to take away from the ones that he confessed to try, you know what I mean? Because you need to do that. If you made confessions, but the thing that's going to bite him in the ass will be if the crime scene, and if he told about it and only things that he would have known. So that one's going to take away from any other confessions, is if there's something about the crime scene that comes out that he said, and not because he heard it on the news and this and that and this stuff like that. But anyways, okay. You know what, you guys? My last thing I wanted to say was, Greeno, you are such a dipshit, dude. Putting out a video that's basically threatening to hurt Richard Allen. How do they allow someone like that in the courtroom? How?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he literally put out a video saying that, Greeno fashion, Greeno, come on, grow yourself some fucking brain cells sometimes, dude. Putting out that stupid shit like that that you promise you're going to take care of them. Like what's happening in that dude, like seriously, how do they let someone in the courtroom that's literally threatening to kill Richard Allen?
So yeah, that's why I disagree that you said, like, for him to grow some brain cells. Obviously, for some reason, they let him slip through the cracks every time he does something. So why would he stop? He always gets away with it.
I know. How the fuck? Right?
Well, you know my opinion about it, I think.
Honestly, it's like...
Good night, Sharon.
Yeah, good night, Sharon. But it's like somebody, just walking through a war zone and being unscathed through it all, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you're just like, really? Really, dude?
No, you don't say something like that. Definitely. That's a big no. And I mean, if I was the court and I heard that, I would be like, no, I'm sorry. I have nothing against him because I don't know him. I mean, I hear so many things, hearsay. But I mean, definitely no. I think that was a big no.
Well, of course, right? But that's just it. He always slips back to his dumbass self that he does shit like that.
Because it wants to be like the hero. It wants to sound like, oh, the hero that, if he doesn't, I am going to do it.
Yeah,
but
I know. But instead, it just makes him look like a moron. And actually, to go with the LE that can't even sit there and arrest anyone, whatever. Anyways,
I
with
think
that
only people doing certain types of things get away with stuff like that constantly for years. I will leave it at that.
Yeah. Yep. And Travis, absolutely. Doesn't matter if he confessed after arrested. Jury won't care if he confessed with accurate facts. Absolutely. So we'll just see how it plays out. Like I said, I'm not here to sit there and go, oh, my God, like I need Richard Allen to be convicted. No, I want the right person to be convicted. And that should be based on his own testimony, again, about him being there, his clothing, and confessing. And if that's all part of it and that convicts him, then so be it. Then to me, they have the right person. I feel like they do anyway, but it's not like so bent on, like, do you know what I mean? Some people get so obsessed with, like Richard Allen has to go, but it's not about that. It's just about, what has been.
Also, people also get so obsessed that they're seeing the facts that, 1 + 1 is starting to add. And they're still trying to, say that, oh no, that's fake, that's this. Oh no, there was like no blood, and it was already proven that, there was blood.
Yeah.
The branches were not, odorous. But people are still, going back and reclaiming, and now everything is a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. So I think it goes both ways. I think, I think it should be the right person should be convicted. I personally always believed, even before, I did, a profile, and I think he fit that profile. And I always think that he was he would fit the type of person to have done, what he did. And I truly believe he's the one.
Yeah.
But
I
if
mean,
he's not, I mean, I would be willing to say,
I'll
hey,
be a
I
month
screwed up,
ago.
you know,
Right.
the facts are not adding. But I think so far everything is adding.
Yeah. And by the way, I think whoever said it before with Adam Aspen Connor there, true to cancer style, and I think but Alexa and I know Ivy would agree with this because usually people that have the same type of souls kind of think pretty much the same way. Definitely we cannot stand people that are self-servers, that do everything for the good in themselves. I struggle with that when I see people that are very self-serving and they're either money motivated or just very selfish. So I can understand Adam when he was getting that vibe that he's saying about all these self-serving people, right? Whereas Adam's not the type of person to like step in, you know what I mean? Step on people's toes to get somewhere in a sense. So when it becomes like self-serving and people become self-centered and very much about themselves and what they need to get out of somebody or whatever, that's what he was referring to, like with the case and whatever, because it does for me personally, even in real life, it breaks my heart that people have to be that way instead of just being genuine and caring. Caring gets you a lot further, you know, at the end of the day than being selfish and, like I said, you know, self-serving to themselves. But anyways, so in general, that's what he's obviously was feeling about what was going on there. And it's hard. It's hard on my heart in general. I struggle with this all the time about the world just being so self-serving and, you know, and not giving two fucks about other people and stuff like that. That's why I really do care deeply about people that are passionate, or like say Alexa, Ivy, Charmaine, Aspen, you know, ones that we come across. I don't know about Ben. I don't know about CD. No, but you know, you guys know what I'm talking about, right, guys? You know, you guys, the true hearts know what I'm talking about when I say this. But anyways, is there anything last you want to say before we head off, guys? Besides, thank you.
No.
Really, we'll have to do this again once we.
Well,
I'm
Friday
hoping that there will be a decent time of death that we hear about maybe tomorrow. Because I'm not sure. It's like, how do you argue if a lot of the defense's argument is the timeline?
Right.
How do you pin down the timeline without a good time of death?
Right. Right. Or well,
that's all.
Yeah, I know. What about you, Alexa?
Oh no, I'm just reading what CD said. How do you fit a profile?
Oh,
I think,
right.
yeah, no. Well, hold on. Let me read it. Nothing. No. But for example, when I did, I think I did it on your show. I have to find it. That we did a profile, what I thought that he would look or he would be like, you know. And I always said, I told you, I think he's going to be married. He's probably going to have children. He's probably has a job. So that's what I meant. That's the profile that you know, we said it before he was caught. And sure enough, when he was caught, you know, it was everything that we had said.
Yeah.
I have to go back and look at it.
Alexa, I think that CD is referring to visually looking at Munchkin face, fitting that profile more so when you were saying fitting the profile, it was about.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I you know, I'm tired. I just read something profile. So I thought I was like, okay, CD, that's what I, you know.
The thing is that I know what me and CD talked about the other day because, you know, it's like this little munchkin dude committing this crime and never has committed a crime. But yeah, you were more referring to exactly what you were saying.
Yeah. So that's what I thought CD was like asking. Yeah. Sorry. It's tired. I'm getting like Adam now.
Yeah. So anyways, you guys, thank you guys so much for joining. Don't forget for sure Friday. I'm not, like I said, I have to work in the office tomorrow, so I'll just see what comes out and stuff like that. But anyways, Friday for sure. Okay, guys, if you guys got time.
Yeah, unless something comes up.
Yeah. Right, Ben? Be there, be square. Right, Sharon? Sharon says she's in bed, but she's probably
Friday at what time? 9:30? I'm 9:30 my time, 6:30 yours?
Yeah, probably start then.
Okay.
Yeah, on there. But yeah, and so see what all comes out, and that time should be much to talk about for sure. I'm sure by this point. Yeah, because now we're just hitting the juicy shit, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
the case, right? But anyways, you guys, love you guys. Thank you so much. Go get some rest. Alexa, go to work.
Yeah, I literally have like 10 minutes to get ready. Well, I won't have
Yeah.
a camera on today for my meetings. So
Yeah.
have a good night, everybody. Stay
I
safe,
appreciate
and we'll
it.
see
Thank
you soon.
Yeah, and as well as if anyone again can donate to Aspen Connor, he has all the links there for his Venmo, Cash App. You guys can help him out. Thanks again, CD, for doing that for Aspen and whoever else. But anyways, you guys have a great night. And I'm going to play the intro. Thanks, mods. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
A Norfolk night, the world is cold. We stand surrounded, we are not alone. Within my reverie, there's hope.